Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Vinny's ready to rap.
Okay,
right.
Even though it feels like we haven't done one for a while. We did one last Thursday podcast. Just so you know, today's 4:25. A lot of things going on. If you're listening to this and you're a waiter or a waitress, November 5th, you can change the way you get taxed on your tips, according to this man running for office named Donald J. Trump.
I love that.
I don't know if you heard about that or not. Tips could change. Okay, tips could change when it comes on to going to restaurants because you get to keep it. A lot's been going on, folks. Sorkin said he met with a bunch of CEOs, spoke to a bunch of CEOs that had a private meeting with Trump, and he will give you the breakdown of what he thought, and we got some commentary, obviously, on that. Aside from that, this past weekend, President Biden was walking around with his handlers, Obama and Jimmy Fallon being helped off the stage.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel being helped off this big difference.
What's it?
Fallon, yeah.
Well, not really, but whatever.
Being helped off the stage, and Karine Jean-Pierre had some things to say about it, which is whether it's true or hoax or not, it happened or didn't happen. We will talk about all that stuff. Fundraiser with celebrities. Biden raises $30 million is what he did with a bunch of celebrities. CNN's finalizes rules for first Biden against Trump debate. RFK Jr. could still potentially qualify. House passes defense bill automatically registering men 18 to 26 for draft. The last time we did this was in the early 70s. They want to bring that back. We will see. There's a lot of commentary on this. We'll definitely talk about it. Supreme Court rules bump stock ban is unlawful. Seattle to allow illegals to join police department. Rachel Morin murder, illegal immigrant from El Salvador charged in rape, killing of Maryland mom of 5. Sandy Hook families want to seize Alex Jones' social media accounts. I got a couple thoughts to say about that. Los Angeles removes traffic signs used to target and persecute gay community. Tom and Vinny have a lot to say about that.
Yes.
Biden was with G7 leaders, and a bunch of things happened. They said reached a deal to lend Ukraine $50 billion. I don't really know what that means, lending. But at the same time, Biden says that the U.S. will back Ukraine for a decade. For a decade. You know what that means, right? When they say we're going to back them up for a decade. That means they want this war to go for a decade. Maybe there's some kind of a business potential profit, this thing called military industrial complex type of stuff that this guy named Eisenhower, I think, talked about that maybe it's taking place. Who knows? But we'll talk about it. People are delaying buying new cars, creating deflationary spiral. That's bad news for the auto industry. Interest rates are being discussed. Tom's got an update on that. Fed's Kashkari says it's reasonable to predict December rate cut and why the Fed is unlikely to cut rates before December. That's Barron's. The number of Americans filing for jobless benefits unexpectedly spikes to a 10-month high. Elon Musk says Trump calls him out of the blue regularly, and Elon gave a speech this past week talking about the robot industry and what that means for Tesla and why you, listening to this, will soon buy a robot. Not the one from Rocky IV, the one that's actually a real effective one that can do a lot of good things for you, according to what Musk says. We will talk about that today. WNBA. Can you imagine, for as long as we've been doing content, I've never done any content on WNBA until this 6-foot girl from Iowa showed up that played for Iowa called Caitlin Clark. And she's pissed a lot of people off. She played against this other girl named Angel Reese, who accidentally fouled her. And then afterwards, I want you to see how 2 different ways of reacting to being fouled hard and how a way to react the person that fouled the other person. And then I'm going to give you some stats on the amount of people that watch Angel Reese, who says the reason why WNBA is doing well is because of Me Too. We're going to give the average number of viewers per WNBA game, the average number of attendance when Angel Reese plays, and the average number of viewers attendance when Caitlin Clark plays. I think it's worth knowing that one person in any industry company can change the game if it's the right person. Laura Trump vows to prosecute anyone who cheats in an election. We will track you down. The dread election share of double haters hits historical. This is a story about Biden and Trump. Republicans introduce measure banning DEI. There's another story of MEI they need to hear about. Gen X is feeling the negative effects of inflation more than any other generation. So we don't have enough stories, but those are some of the stories. And a couple of the stories on this side is U.S. Supreme Court fenced. No, this was debunked, but the Cori Bush claimed she miraculously healed women with tumors in bizarre resurfaced TV interview. Folks, you have to see this.
I'm flying to Washington to have her touch my back. My back is in bad shape.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny's leaving right after this podcast.
I'm leaving after this.
And then high-profile lawyer ditches accused rapist real estate heirs Morin and Elon Alexander after more allegations surface. We'll get to that as well. All right, before we get into everything, the debate's coming up when? The debate is
June 27th.
June 27th.
If I'm not mistaken.
Which is Trump versus Biden. And they've broken down what this debate's going to be like. Let me just kind of give you a little bit of details on this, and I'll tell you what we're doing. And how some of you guys that want to participate with this, you can. So here's the details. CN finalized the rules for the first 2024 presidential debate set for June 27 in Atlanta, with Biden and Trump agreeing to the terms, while RFK Jr. could still qualify if he meets the 15% support threshold in the 4 national polls. The 90-minute debate will be hosted by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, featuring strict rules, no consulting during commercial breaks, podium positions determined by coin flip, muted mics outside speaking time, and no props or prepared notes. Candidates will not be allowed to bring props or prepared notes. CNN says the debate will not have a studio audience, and moderators will ensure a civilized discussion using all tools at their disposal. Now, Trump said something about this, and I don't know if you caught that or not. He says, look, they asked me to do this with all these ridiculous asks, and they were expecting me to say no, to come out to the market to say Trump turned down a debate. He said, but I said yes to everything because I don't care what happens. If they want to do the debate with me, I want to do it. Rob, if you can find a clip, it is somewhere where he's saying this. That's not the one. There's another one that he says. But anyways, it's very interesting. Here's what we're doing at the Comedy Club, $59.90 live. We and our staff will be watching the debate, and we'll do a podcast that night. The debate is at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10:30. So we're talking about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will probably start at 8:30 and go till about 11:30 and comment on it. And there's going to be an audience there of our teammates, and family and friends will be there as well. However, the first 50 people that go to vtmerch.com. The other day, I got a picture, Rob. I'm going to send this to you. One of our friends who's in, what do you call it? He was in Santorini. Sends me a text. He says, Pat, check this out. I'm in Santorini with a PBD podcast shirt on, and people are stopping me in Santorini. I got messages from guys wearing the gear all over the place. So go to vtmerch.com. For the first 50 people that purchase $300 worth of merch, it is a high number because we don't want a lot of people coming because we don't have a lot of space. This is not an event where we're selling tickets. However, if you do go place an order for $300 of merch, we will give you 2 tickets to come and attend the event with us.
Sick.
And people that purchase the $300 worth of merch, priority for seats will be based on first come, first serve. You place an order, great, you're in. We'll see you. And one other person here with us, this is Joe Pelland in Santorini, sporting the PBD podcast. He says people are stopping him saying, I listen to the PBD podcast as well. Anyway, shout out to Joe Pelland. All right, let's get into the podcast. I want to start off with the Caitlin Clark story. I know this is kind of like, I cannot believe we're starting with WNBA. Very surprising that that's the first story.
Very DEI.
I'm telling you, I'm going with it because of what's going on. Rob, can you play a clip? So here's what happened. I want to give you some stats here, folks, for you to realize. So Caitlin Clark is on display. Rob, if you go on Twitter, it's even better because she's commenting on it. Just go to my Twitter account. And if you go to the Twitter account and go below, there's a video. Angel Reese is playing against Caitlin Clark, okay? They have this big game going on. Neither one of them are the best teams in the league, but she gets fouled. Caitlin Clark does. And this is how Angel Reese, who she became a champion, by the way, in college. I think she won the championship. Caitlin Clark in the championship.
Exactly, 2 years ago.
However, for whatever reason, the audience likes watching Caitlin more because she's more exciting than Angel. But watch what she says after the way she fouls Caitlin Clark. Go ahead and play this clip.
For inside, I mean, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being able to for inside.
Okay, so that's the way she reacts to it. Now, you know what Caitlin Clark said when she got fouled this hard and she got interviewed afterwards? Rob, I sent you the clip. Not this one. I sent you a clip on text. If you can just look that up. And I believe it is the first one or the second one. Let me see which one it is. One of the two where she's being asked the question, hey, how do you feel about the way that you were, that's the one right there. Can you play that clip? Okay, watch this, folks. She's asked about the foul. Look how different the response is. Go for it.
By Angel Reese, what's going through your mind and how you just stay within yourself to finish the game?
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is.
Listen.
Trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens. And those free throws, when you have to shoot them with nobody at the line, are kind of hard. So it's a little different than having people at the line. So I was just trying to focus on making those.
What an attractive personality on the way she gives the answer. Yeah. No victim. Rob, can you play the other clip at the bottom that I texted you as well? In that text, there's 2 clips. Play the one at the bottom if you could. We like winners who take responsibility and they don't act like victims. There's something in the marketplace that is attractive. Now watch this one here, Rob. This is Angel Reese. Watch this clip. She says the following. Go ahead and play it. She needs a lot of attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of...
Boom, what a move. Okay, so the average WNBA viewership, game, 7,300 in attendance, okay? The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200. They come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay? 15,300. Do you know what Caitlin Clark just got the contract from Nike?
Nike.
You know what the contract is?
I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like that.
Right there. Look at this. Caitlin Clark gets 15,591 fans in attendance, 105% increase compared to the average game is 7645. And to Angel Reese, it's only 10,000 people. Can you pull up what Caitlin Clark just got? What is the Nike contract with Caitlin Clark? Nike contract, $28 million is what the contract is. Okay? This is WNBA is paying Caitlin Clark $28 million. Good for freaking you. By the way, that day when they played against each other, Caitlin Clark's team won the Fever. Tom, thoughts on this story with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese?
I think there's some people, first of all, I think it's jealousy. I don't want to get in, there's a lot of articles out there that are using the R word and talking about this. I think it is pure, unadulterated jealousy. And the last clip from Angel Reese, they're watching me too. They're watching me too. It's like she's begging us to believe in her validation. Whereas the numbers, words talk, Angel, numbers scream, and the numbers are screaming that the fans are coming for her. But I want to point something else out. When Tiger Woods came up, I think the day he turned pro, Rob, I think it was a $40 million Nike contract the day Tiger turned pro. And in the years that followed, the purses in basketball, there it is, 5-year, $40 million deal as a young phenom. Nike knows how to do this. And Tiger drove the total purses in PGA up. Why? Because he brought eyeballs to TV. TV sold those eyeballs to financial services company, auto companies, high-end companies, all that wanted to sponsor it. And guess what happened to the total purse? And the total purse is the money that goes to the players. It went up. And suddenly, guys finishing in the top 10 of a golf tournament were making as much as they were 5 years prior to win a tournament. And so people need to see, I think history is repeating itself, and Caitlin Clark could be raising the tide and lifting all boats. And I think Angel Reese needs to take a pill because there is a great opportunity here, and I think jealousy is reigning supreme here.
I think... I don't think the WNBA is ready for this type of attention that she's bringing to them. That attitude. There was another player that was crying after a regular season game, and you said the R word, Tom. I don't know why you were like blocking it. Racism. Everybody's talking about, like Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, which we'll get into, Pat, after we go. He's just going on these panels and going, you know what? First he's bashing Trump, and then he goes into Caitlin Clark, and she's everything about her is white, and he's going on these anti-white race things about her and how black personalities would be more successful if they were white. It's unattractive. It's making this victimhood mentality.
Which clip is it? Is it that clip? Is it that one?
Is this the one, Robbie? I think. Well, this is one, and then the other one is beneath it. Like he goes on. I think the one on the bottom is the one about Trump, and is that the one, Tom? Yeah, go up. No, that one right there. I think that's it.
Go ahead,
young lady, and she's been a magnet in a way that has benefited the league in ways that others have not, even though their efforts have been worthy and deserving of being as celebrated, if not even more celebrated. And it's a reminder that no matter how far we believe that we have advanced as a society, there's still such a long way to go. Because in the end,
look, this guy's embarrassing, bro.
You're bright, you're right, and as a result, the shine comes your way in the eyes of a lot of people in America.
Yeah, it's race baiting rhetoric that's adding fuel to a fire. It's like enough with the racist BS. She's nasty. She knows how to ball. Everybody else is jealous. They're pissed off because she's getting this. It's ridiculous, and we're never going to advance as a species. And we're never if he keeps having that type of attitude. It's ridiculous. It's like what? Everything has to go back to race. Everything has to keep going back to race. She's really good. Let it be that. And the other players should shut the hell up. Like, nobody was talking about your league. Nobody cared about the WNBA until that girl, Caitlin Clark, I don't care what color she is. She's ridiculous. She's nasty. And now people are watching and you guys are talking shit about her. Like, what are you guys doing? They're sabotaging the whole thing. She should leave. She should have got those other contracts, Pat. Where does she have a contract to go somewhere else?
Big three.
She should have gone to the big three. To hell with the WNBA. They're nothing. They're nobody. Nobody's watching.
They lost $50 million. The WNBA lost $50 million. The only reason they make it is because the NBA kind of gives money to them to help them out. It's a lost cause every year. It's a political DEI thing. However, there is an argument for what Bill Maher just said to Charlemagne. Go ahead and play this clip. Watch this here. This is the complete opposite of what Stephen A. said. Go ahead.
But you don't think it's a problem that this young woman, there's so many examples where, I mean, black people are very marketable.
Well, ask yourself
and
this.
She seems to have been indoctrinated into this. They don't see it as marketable, so it doesn't matter how hard I work.
Well,
I don't think that's accurate or healthy. I mean, when people come into the league and they're like the biggest thing in college, isn't that a big deal?
No, because Asia Wilson was the biggest thing when she came out of South Carolina. That's where I'm from. So she was one of the biggest things when she came out of South Carolina, number one draft pick. And she didn't get all of that. So what do you attribute that to?
I mean, you're saying that's racism.
No, I'm not saying it's racist. I'm just saying that I think Asia Wilson has a point. And I think sometimes when, black women say certain things, we should listen, especially her, because I'm not in her shoes.
I don't know. But why was Serena Williams such a big star? Because people like that. They didn't not watch her because she was black, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
So where are we with this?
I don't know. I'm just sitting back observing the conversation.
Come on, man. That's not what you're doing.
You're in the conversation.
That's right.
I'm not a woman. I'm not.
You're in this conversation.
Well, they hate her because she's white, she's straight, and more importantly, she's better than everybody else. Period. End of story.
Adam.
It's like ridiculous.
I find it so ironic that on the day that the Boston Celtics just won their record 18th championship, just outlasted the Dallas Mavericks with the most DEI team in the league. Dallas Mavericks, we all know that. Shout out to Mark Cuban, right? The most white players in the league in a black man's game. That we're talking about the WNBA. This is pretty wild, but this is where we're at today. Congratulations to the Celtics. But Caitlin Clark, I guess technically, is not the best player in the league. Why am I watching WNBA stats? Because I want to hate on the WNBA as much as possible because they're a zombie company that is losing money, which I'll touch on in a second. Here's the reality. Antonio Brown, friend of the show, he came out and said that The WNBA is.
I don't know if it's a friend. I think it's a parody what you're saying, but keep going.
He's been on the show.
Yeah.
Shout out to AB. He says that it's a charity case for lesbians. And the reality is the WNBA is hemorrhaging money. You just said $50 million this year. It's a zombie company. Name another company that just loses money. And we're like, yeah, let's keep talking about this company for the last 25 years. Let the company fail. But because of DEI and feminism, they're going to keep this company alive. There he goes. It's a charity case for lesbians. I actually had to go do the research and, simple Google search. It says, what percentage of WNBA players are lesbian? Not that there's anything wrong with that. No. Shout out to Seinfeld. 40% at least. So when he says that it's a charity case for lesbians, now there's another player out there. Her name was... Candace Wiggins, she played for Stanford. She claims that she was bullied by WNBA players. There she is right there. And she says she was bullied because she's straight. And she says that 98% of the league is lesbians. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except for when you're picking on people because of their sex, because of their color, because of their race. I mean, it's the antithesis of how we should be treating people. And, essentially what it is a bunch of angry black lesbians mad at this woman, Caitlin Clark, for doing her thing. Doing her thing. She's got the money. The reality is this, Angel Reese and whatever other players are in the WNBA, without Caitlin Clark, we wouldn't be talking about your league.
Period.
I fully agree that they should let this league fail. It's a zombie league, but they're not making money.
Works. That's not how capitalism works.
The NBA pays their salary.
Yeah. By the way, Candace Wiggins, if you see this, what a great birthday you have. February 14th. I know another person born on that day, which is my wife. So
beautiful woman.
Happy Valentine's Day. Okay. Here's what I would say. This is how capitalism works. You in capitalism can trash WNBA as much as you want. And you should. Okay. That's, you have an opinion. You can say, we went to a restaurant the other day, Catch, Beverly Hills. I used to love it. The service, horrible. Absolutely horrible. I will never go back to the Catch in Beverly Hills ever again.
You got to talk to Eugene.
And we went to, by the way, shout out to Catch in New York. You're fantastic. Shout out to Cut in Beverly Hills with Wolfgang Puck, who stopped by 2 times, came and spoke to us. Yep. Great conversation, great experience. That's how capitalism works. Somebody can say, I hate the PBD podcast for the following reason. Some may say, I love the PBD podcast. We don't get to say, well, Joe Rogan is #1 and we are important too, because that's not how podcasting competition works. You know who tells you you're good? The flipping market tells you're good. By the way, you know when's the last time I watched a WNBA game? Never. Till today. I've still not watched a WNBA game. But do you know what I'm for? Do you know what I'm for? Let me tell you what I'm for. So Tiger Woods, he changed the game in golf, right? And I think he talked about Serena. Serena changed the game. Did you see the feedback Serena gave to Caitlin? Did you see what Serena told her? Serena told Caitlin Clark, I freaking love this, that there's no race involved. And Serena is black, okay? So here's what Serena Williams said to Caitlin Clark. No matter what other people do, if people are negative, then it's because they can't do what you do.
Bingo.
Good for you to say something like that, right? Hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing. This is a GOAT. African-American women who they can't tell her what to say, because even in an interview with Jimmy Kimmel or David Letterman many years ago, she said, what would happen if you played a man against Andy Murray? It's not the same. He would beat me 6-0, 6-0, 6-0 in 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, right? Yeah. You can't force her to say what's the right political thing to say. Now, here's the other part to be thinking about with this.
Yes, sir.
Tiger Woods. Do you know what percentage he's black?
Half. Tiger Woods.
Can you type up what percentage?
He's Blasian. He's Blasian. His dad's black. His mom's Asian.
What percentage Tiger Woods is black? Okay.
And you can also look up the word he invented for his race.
Okay, so check this out. Do you know, I had no clue, and I was forced to do this. Woods said nothing to clarify his ancestral rule. For the record, he is 1/4 Thai, 1/4 Chinese, 1/4 Caucasian, 1/8 African American, and 1/8 Native American. You know what's 1/8? 12.5%. So here's the point. You celebrated Tigers, but none of us even knew. The first time I ever knew about this, I knew he wasn't 100% black, but I even watched a documentary. I love the way Tiger plays. I have his best card. I'm a Tiger guy. But I was forced to do this because of this Caitlin Clark situation. No one cares what skin color you are. You know what America loves? Let me break it down for you. We absolutely love one thing. You know what it is? Underdogs. And Caitlin Clark is an underdog. We don't care if it's WNBA. We don't care if it's the UFC and they said, Dana, you'll never make it. We don't care if it's a presidential candidate. We don't care if it's a comedian. We don't care if it's a businessman. We don't care if it's a podcaster. We don't care if it's a fighter. We don't care if it's anything. We don't care about your color. We don't care if you're married, single, divorced. We don't care about anything. We love humble underdogs. We just do. We love an underdog that comes in, that's got a fight, that wants to go out there and do it. And Caitlin Clark's doing it. And she's getting all these eyeballs. And I'm so happy for her to get the $28 flipping million. Stephen A., you're better than this, man. You know, we're brothers. We talk all the time. Dude, this ain't about the color situation that's taking place. This is a girl that came in and garnered more attention than others in the game. That's what happened. It's that simple. When you came to ESPN and you went through the times that you had your setbacks with your job and all this stuff, you're the face. In your sport, you are number one. I watch you. Listen, I watch you. I don't watch anybody. The sporting side I like. Who's the other guy calling?
The football, the punter?
Is it
the
Coward something?
Colin Coward. Colin Coward.
Colin Coward.
I like him. I like Stephen A.
Hurd.
And McAfee once,
I don't watch McAfee, not because he's not good.
Yeah.
I just like Colin and I like Stephen A.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, recently I like what Sharp's doing, but, you know, more from a different kind of a standpoint.
Okay.
But guess what? To me, number one, the GOAT is who? Stephen A.
100%.
I don't even think about what color Stephen A. is to say that. He's just the best. He's the GOAT. So in a space like this, when it comes down to capitalism, this is why you got to love it. Capitalism doesn't care about your background. This is why right now when you're talking about this DEI BS, and this guy introduces Scale AI CEO explain why his company will hire for MEI, not DEI. DEI stands for what? Diversity, equity, and what? Inclusion, something like that. Yeah. MEI stands for merit, excellence, and intelligence. Good for you to say something basic like that, right? Let me read this article to you so you know what this is. Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang announced a hiring policy focused on merit, excellence, and intelligence, contrasting with the popular diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Wang emphasized Scale is a meritocracy, and we must always remain one, adding talent is our number one input metric. Wang's MEI policy has garnered praise from industry leaders, including Musk and Jerry Tan. Wang stated no group has a monopoly on excellence. A hiring process based on merit will naturally yield a variety of backgrounds, perspective, and ideas, arguing that treating candidates as individuals, ensuring fairness and respect. Scale AI, valued at $14 billion, has achieved significant milestone, including partnerships with OpenAI, government contracts, and a recent $1 billion funding round. Tom.
Newsflash. The entire stock market is a meritocracy. Either you have the numbers and the performance to back it up, or you don't. And it takes great people of all backgrounds, measured very simply. Do you have the merit, the excellence, and the intelligence for that job? Because we want to put a whole bunch of them together. And let me tell you, I've been part of a lot of these companies. And I'll tell you, I don't care if you're green, purple, or blue stripes. It doesn't matter to me. If you can do the job with excellence and you're bringing the greater intelligence to it, then guess what? You're helping the company, and the entire stock market is a meritocracy. And when we sit here and suddenly want to talk about, DEI, and it's about feelings, and it's about hidden political agendas, we're missing the part that it's about merit. You know, but we were just talking about Caitlin Clark. I won't go back to it. I'll just say there are number one draft picks, and then there are number one draft picks that were the greatest statistical college player in history. Well, Scale AI is saying if we want to be a great company, I need great people. And I'm not going to be bullied, which is a lot of what he talked about, into DEI. I'm going to put great people on the ground and build a great company. I'm worth $14 billion today. We're going forward tomorrow. And you know what? See you on the stock market. It's all a meritocracy.
Adam.
Can I just circle back to the Clayton Clark thing real quick? 'Cause I love what this MEI thing stands for. I think, you know, people are so over the DEI situation, and as Elon Musk
quick
famously
on Clayton
has said,
Clark, because we're on MEI, Adam, so stay on MEI.
As Elon Musk famously said, DEI must DIE. You know, you talked about capitalism and the stock market is capitalism. I think that the WNBA thing, keeping it afloat, is not capitalism. I think it is crony capitalism. We can disagree on that. I think they're keeping this company afloat. I think it's a zombie company. And if it was any other company, they would fail. That's me. Freedom to buy, freedom to sell, freedom to try, freedom to fail. This is the equivalent of just bailing out a company that should have failed. The difference is with the MEI, this is actually based on meritocracy. You want to see an actual meritocracy, go have Labrina James show up at the WNBA game and let's see if a man dressed as a woman, white chicks vibes, shows up and how he does against Caitlin Clark. I think the reversion to the mean is actually happening. There's corrections and there's overcorrections. Everything that's happened with Black Lives Matter, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. Well, it turns out they were a fraud. Everything that's happening with the gays for Gaza, oh yeah, we got to protect, it's genocide. Yeah, it turns out that they're actually a bunch of psychopaths and they're an Islamic terrorist group. All the truth will set you free. I think the truth will come out, and all the DEI checking all the boxes is going to fail. And just like you see what's happening in the House of Congress right now, the House of Representatives, congressional Republicans introduced the Dismantle DEI Act by Senator J.D. Vance, aiming to ban all DEI programs and funding in the federal government. So it's going to fail, it's going to die, and DEI must die.
Because it's reverse discriminatory, and J.D. Vance is right.
Yeah.
And by the way, DEI is the reason why WNBA was failing, and MEI is why Caitlin Clark just got paid $28 million.
Yep.
That's simple.
But
and FYI, when it comes down to capitalism, you know, if you think about lion holding, okay, our businesses that we have, some of the businesses that we have, like we're going to fund movies and documentaries. You don't necessarily buy all of these movies and invest into the movies and documentaries because you're planning on being a billionaire. That's not necessarily a motive for us. We're planning on making certain movies and having certain actors because there's a messaging and a cause that we have. The NBA can look at WNBA as a form of their nonprofit organizations, for instance, right?
Yes.
Like that's their charity.
Literally.
You're right. No, you're right.
Literally.
However, check this out. Sometimes, you know, there are these things called accidental millionaires, and there are these things called accidental celebrities and accidental billionaires and accidental leaks. This paddle whatever thing is that's going on, it's becoming an accidental leak. Do you know what happened with poker, World Series of Poker? Accidentally, it took off. Do you know what ESPN did when they had a domino tournament? You know what happened? It accidentally failed. You know what the market said? We're not. You know, there used to be domino tournaments on ESPN. Do you know what else was on ESPN back in the days? Bodybuilders used to go work out and you would watch a 30-minute video. Do you remember this?
Hell yeah.
Back in the days, ESPN, Flex Wheeler would train. Matarazzo would train. All these guys would train. Guess what the market said? Yeah, we don't want to watch it. Great, you move on. But the MEI validates why Caitlin Clark is getting paid $28 million. MEI validates why capitalism works, and DEI validates why it doesn't work.
I think Caitlin Clark, I think to separate, I actually think that she's the reason that we're even talking about the WNBA. So just to be clear, she's the reason that this league is even relevant. So I do agree that she's lifting the tide for all these players. But so I'm just separating her from the WNBA. Without her, this league should have failed. It should still fail. I think there's one thing that we're forgetting. It's longevity. There's short term and there's long term. I think in the short term, we're talking about her. She just became the lead, scoring champion of college basketball. There's one thing that she has to do for us to keep talking about her beyond this season. Win. If this woman doesn't win and she doesn't continue to put butts in seats, it's here today, gone tomorrow. So just like Ronda Rousey, nobody talks about her these days. Danica Patrick, amazing. Nobody talks about her.
I love her.
Venus Williams, she was the GOAT before Serena Williams. Who talks about her these days? If Caitlin Clark doesn't win, then she's going to be irrelevant just like the rest of the celebrities.
You know what the NBA was worth in 1983? NBA valuation in 1983. Okay.
This was when Dr. J was winning championships, just when Magic and Bird were going at it.
NBA's revenue in 1983, you know what it was? $118 million. Let me say this one more time. Tom, did you hear what I just said?
Yes, I did.
The revenue of NBA was $118 million in 1982, 1983. It's at $4.6 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I'm with Michael. Is it Reinsdorf? Not Jerry Reinsdorf. Who's the owner today? It's the son. Can you type in Michael Reinsdorf? And I'm with him 4 weeks ago in Chicago at a Goldman Sachs event. So type in Michael Reinsdorf. He's the owner. That's the son right there to the right. Not Jerry, but the son. Okay. So I asked him a question. His father bought the Chicago Bulls. Can you pull up what Jerry Reinsdorf paid for the Bulls? I want to say he bought it for $8.4 million. I may be off by a couple hundred, $9.2 million. His father bought the Bulls for $9.2 million in 85. Can you check what the Chicago Bulls are worth today? What is the Chicago Bulls worth today? Okay. Chicago Bulls valuation. What's the Chicago Bulls worth today? Yeah.
Great typer, by the way. I can't.
Worth today. Watch this. Okay. 2023, 4.6. Wow. Today, it's $5 billion. You know what's $9.2 million into $5 billion? How many X is that, by the way? That's nearly 500X, give or take, okay? What happened for the Chicago Bulls to go from being worth $9 million?
Michael Jordan, he's French.
One German,
French.
right?
What's French basketball
with
player?
A French basketball. Michael Jordan changed the game.
Yes.
In every single business, company, church, military, everything. Right now, okay, let's talk about this. The military draft, right? What page is that on, Adam? I know
I think that was
we were
on
talking.
page 6, I believe.
What's it? Let me pull this up. There it is. Okay. House passes defense bill automatically registering men 18 to 26 for draft, right? Okay, so let's go to the story. The House passed the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, on Friday, including a measure to automatically, not even a draft, to automatically register men age 18 to 26 for military draft. Representative Chrissy Houlihan, who led the initiative, stated it would help ensure any future military draft is fair and equitable. What? And redirect resources towards military readiness. This year's NDAA authorizes $895 billion in military spending, $9 billion increase from fiscal 2024, and includes the largest ever military pay raise in history with a 19.5% increase for junior enlisted troops. It also funds 2 new Virginia-class submarines and establishes a drone force within the U.S. Army. Despite passing the House with a 2017 199 vote, the NDAA faces opposition in the Senate. Adam.
Well, this is a story on the surface that you would think, holy crap, they're implementing a draft. So I had to do some research. Actually, Rob, I just sent you an article that it looks like a draft on the surface, but it's actually, there's something called selective service system. You brought up the fact that there hasn't been a draft since the early 70s, since Vietnam, right? 1973. Yeah. To be clear, service is still voluntary, but they're basically saying it's almost like register to vote so you can vote, but you don't have to vote. That's kind of what this is. So it's like register for this selective service system. So God forbid they do implement a draft, which is not a thing these days in the last 50 plus years, that you could eligible to be drafted. So it's sort of
it's a registration.
Sort of caught in the weeds. Exactly.
Registration just for war.
Here's what I will say, because you served in the Army, you served in the Air Force. I think you were in the
Canadian
National Math League. The 2024 is
Royal
the small,
Mounties.
Exactly. 2024 is the smallest active duty we've had in America since 1940.
I wonder why.
So I think, and speaking as someone that didn't serve in the military, okay, I have great respect for people that have served in the military, and my respect has even been more resounding since being around you, since being around Vinny, since being around Matt Sapala, being around people that we brought in who were Marines, have been in the Army, have had service for their country. Major respect to you guys. I think there's a massive disconnect between the general Americans and the people that serve our country. I think less than 1% of Americans serve our country. I think that's unfortunate. I think that, you know, while we're out there fighting wars, and some of them are needless, i.e. Afghanistan, i.e. Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. I don't want to be involved in all these needless wars, boots on the ground. We still need to have respect for our servicemen and women that serve our country and give, sometimes with the greatest sacrifice of their lives. So I think, you know, we've talked about the lack of traditional American values, the lack of family, the lack of the decline of kids, the decline of religion. The thing that upsets me the most is the decline of patriotism. shit. I mean, I remember like when I was a kid, the Pledge of Allegiance every single day. I don't even know if they do the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God. Oh my God, how could you say such a thing these days? I think that the lack of patriotism and the disconnect from our servicemen and women is actually hurting our country, and we need to get back to a place where we actually appreciate our servicemen and women.
And it's so bad. I saw a video yesterday on X, and it's a real video. I checked it. Some lady, some kid, autistic kid, was holding a flag. I think 12 or 14 years old, Rob, and the lady elbows the kid, and the father runs after, like, what the hell? The flag now, the American flag, which, listen, good luck to all your flags. I don't bash anybody's flag. We have the sickest, not only the sickest looking flag, we have the dopest song, the national anthem. Whenever you hear anybody else's national anthem,
Whitney Houston during the Super Bowl,
the best ever.
Bring you to tears.
But now, this is it. This guy's a 12-year-old. He's chasing this lady, PBD. Is it okay we play this? She already hit this kid, 12-year-old autistic kid.
Hit a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old. You hit a 12-year-old. Turn around. Tell me you're sorry. I won't call the police. You can't hit a 12-year-old.
For a flag. For carrying
hit me. Don't hit a 12-year-old. Here, slap me. Don't hit him because he has a right to carry his flag. An autistic 12-year-old. You hit a 12-year-old, ma'am.
Look, watch.
You have no right to hit a 12-year-old.
You need to back up.
Slap me.
Back up.
Slap me. She hit a 12-year-old.
I was right behind you.
Karen.
Hit him.
I have my video right here. She hit him right in the arm. He's autistic. She threw her elbow. I got it right here.
You're going to love this.
So did you hit him? Did you hit him? Then why did you apologize?
Are you done?
No.
Racist.
How are we racist? We're Jews.
We're Jews.
Are we racist?
What are you doing?
Racism. Saw that?
That woman just hit my son.
She didn't hit anyone.
You weren't there. I got it on video. I'm calling 911. I'm following you.
Are you ready for this? Look at the all America summed up right now in one video. This white lady hits a 12-year-old autistic kid for holding a flag. Then another white Karen comes in and goes, "You're being racist." What are we talking about? It's the flag. An autistic kid's carrying a flag, and you elbow him. That's America, and you nailed at him. It's un-American. Holding the flag and loving the country now, you're racist and you're a scumbag.
Tom.
Well, I think the line here on decline of patriotism took us right down this path, and I think, Vinny, you're absolutely right, and Adam, you're right about decline of patriotism. I go back to this bill, and I encourage people, whenever you see these things, dive into the fine print. So it was a close vote, 217 to 199. Why are votes close? You need to get people to help. How do you get people to help? Listen, I want to put this draft, this NDAA out there, and I want to get the draft back, yeah? Well, I'm not really interested in helping you in the draft back. Hey, we make submarines in your district. Maybe I toss you a couple subs. Okay. And you make drones in your district. Maybe I'll get a drone force for the U.S. Army. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way legislation works in Washington. It's not a single purpose bill for a single outcome. It's like the National Defense Authorization Act also contains billions of dollars to put 2 new Virginia-class submarines and a drone force in it. This isn't a defense appropriation bill. This is supposed to be a bill about establishing selective service. This is how the sausage is made in America. There's a decline of patriotism, and I think there's also a decline of fiscal integrity, because I look inside this and I see a flawed registration to force all these men to be prepared for the draft. I also see the worst of Washington is you've got $895.2 billion in military spending. 895.2? Come on.
By the way, here's what I would say to you. Let me first read this. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted the bill on Friday afternoon over the inclusion of amendments curbing funding for abortion, transgender medical care, and diversity of efforts. Unsurprisingly, the legislation coming out of the House today is loaded with anti-LGBT, anti-choice, anti-environment, and other divisive, keyword divisive, amendments guaranteed not to pass the Senate, Schumer said. As we move forward with this year's NDAA process, both sides will have to work together to pass bipartisan legislation that honors and respects all who serve in the defense of our nation. Why don't you learn how to post a better picture with barbecue, trying to fool American people with your picture of you putting cheese on a meat, acting like you know what you're doing, and you have to delete the picture because how embarrassing it was. Look, it's not even on, and he's got, who the hell puts cheese on? Anyways, this is the same guy. Let me stay on this here. Let me stay on this here, okay? Remember how I said to you earlier, one person changes the face of anything, right? In our company, I can tell you, Matt Sapala and Sheena Sapala, changed the game.
Wow.
Having Tom Ellsworth as a executive in the company changed the game. Moral changed the game. Jen changed the game. Vargas changed the game. I can give names of people that changed the game that I've been in business with, right? I've seen it personally in sports. I've seen it in politics. I've seen it in everything. One of the reasons why we are the lowest, guys, this is the smallest military we've ever had since 1940. Yeah. Okay? Smallest active duty ever. FYI. At a time where we are one stupid move away from World War III. And while this is taking place, we are more concerned about having LGBTQ representation in the military than your safety. You watching this. They're more concerned about who is lesbian, gay, trans, bi, than making sure your kids are safe. Think about that for a second. That lady who went and hit the flag, her hate comes from a network telling her to hate that. Where did that hate come from? It's either from parents, from teachers, from professors, or watching a certain network that bashes the American flag. And she does what? Hits the freaking kid, 12-year-old, and hits the flag? What is the matter with you for saying something like this? The other day I was watching this clip about this kid, Brandon. If you have that clip that you guys had me react to, Rob, I don't think you have it. They'll send it to you. If you can text it to me and Rob, where this kid is being told, yeah, you cannot talk about patriotism. You cannot talk about American patriotism. You cannot say this. You have to take this out of your speech, and you have to take that out of the speech. And the kid, you have to see how this kid speaks, by the way. And the kid's like, oh, no, I'm not. Now that you're saying that, now I have to talk about that. Brandon, if you have it, please send it. I know you have this clip. Every parent, well, this is the one. Okay, can you make it bigger up and just play this clip? Watch this kid here.
As you said, she told me to remove everything regarding patriotism. And so I immediately knew, no, I'm not going to do that because I knew that was wrong. She's like, oh, I need your speech. I need to see it before it goes on. I'm like, okay, I have it right here. But I did not remove the parts regarding patriotism. And then she's like, you don't understand. You have to remove that part. Wow. First, you're not obligated to be speaking about this. She said, you're speaking to fourth through seventh graders. They don't care about patriotism. And then that was like a red flag for me. I'm like, flag. Excuse me, I've known about patriotism since kindergarten. I love my country, and that's why I put it in there. And then she's like, you need to come to my office. And I'm like, and at that point, I'm like, no, I'm going to say my speech.
So check this out.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm finishing this book right now called The Anxious Generation, where the author was asked, who raises better kids that are less anxious and less panic attacks and less, he says, conservatives raise better kids. Mm-hmm. And we showed this clip a couple weeks ago. But that kid, why is it that conservatives raise kids that love America? Mm-hmm. And why is it that kids who hate America are on the other side politically? Why is that? Why is it that people who love their flag, what's wrong with that? Why? So you're sitting there asking, we have the lowest military ever, right? The size. The enemy is sitting there laughing at you. There's this guy in this country called Russia, his name is Vlad, who is sitting there laughing at you, Chuck Schumer, because he knows you're a clown. When you say, what kind of a bill is this that we're not paying attention to LGBTQ? When it comes down to policies like that has to do with safety, nothing matters but one thing, the protection and the safety of your people, not the protection and the safety of a small community that you keep promoting left and right and pandering to, which, by the way, it's no longer working. There's a reason why organizations like Gays for Groomers are growing. Because they're looking at you and saying, leave us alone. You don't make any sense. We don't represent what you think of us. We just want to be left alone. We don't want to be fed down to kids on, what they agree and what they don't agree on. And by the way, when you see a kid like this, you know what you think about? You know what you think about when you think about this kid? You think that kid was born talking like that? You think that kid was born being that much of a patriot? Why do you think he's a patriot, Tom? Why do you think he's a patriot?
Because he was raised by parents that taught him the value of that. And as a young child, he learned it.
Rob, can you find out who his parents are? Is there a way you can search to see who his parents are? That kid is that way because of the way he was raised with his parents, because the church he probably went to, because the school he probably went to, because the kindergarten he probably went to. That kid is like that because he was taught. He was taught and trained to be proud of his country. And that other lady that smacked the 12-year-old kid with, what do you call it, autism, was also taught to hate her country. Both of them are taught, good or bad. Adam.
Well, I have a question for you, Pat, but I fully agree that unfortunately, and this is a message to my Democratic friends out there, unfortunately, when you think of the flag, it resonates more with Republicans these days than Democrats, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the reality. I mean, even if you look at the slogans for the Republican Party, Make America Great Again versus Hope and Change or I'm with her, no mention of America. You even have an angry patriot right here who's upset about what's going on in America, and I can totally understand that. A lot of the messaging with the Democratic Party, especially the progressive left, the regressive left, down with the patriarchy, anti-straight white men, anti-American, Marxist, feminist, social justice warrior, wokesters, unfortunately is not exactly working with what the average American wants these days. The biggest problem that I have with America today, other than the lack of patriot, is the cycle that we're in right now. We're in the weak men create hard times cycle. You know, the whole hard times create strong men create good times, weak men. We're now in the weak men creating hard times cycle right now. So I fully endorse the fact that a lot of college kids, or a lot of kids aren't necessarily going to college anymore. What are they trying to do? Maybe they're going to go to trade schools. Maybe they're going to go become entrepreneurs. I fully endorse the fact that young people should actually do some national or civic service for a year. And the only mandate that you have to do is say the freaking pledge every year. I say all that to say this. You served in the military. You served your country. You said it changed your life. What happens if Tico or Dylan or any of the kids actually had to serve in the military? Would you be pro that? Would you be against that? Would you have reservations? What are your thoughts on young people, especially your kids, serving the military?
I can't tell you what Dylan told me the other day for long-term reasons of protecting him. I'll tell you guys privately. But Dylan told me something the other day, and I'm like, it just pissed me off, the fact that this guy's so far right now, he's a pretty decent soccer player. He's doing pretty good. He's in a unique academy right now. I'll tell you guys about it next week when he's done with the academy. But he's doing good. You know, I don't even have to say it to them because when they're around us, they know how proud I am to be an American, okay? And they have that as well. But going into the military, like when I went into the military, the 101st Airborne Division at the time, 97, September when I got there, first week, they put us in an auditorium, 600 people, and they made us watch a movie before the world watched a movie called Saving Private Ryan. And that badge that you wear, they said, you wear this proudly. These are men that came before you that fought for this country. That's why the world knows the 101st Airborne Division. So wear that proudly. I mean, and then I go to Memorial Day, and I'm like, this vacation was known for, holiday was known for barbecues and all this stuff. I see grown men and women crying who are E8s and E9s and, majors and lieutenant colonels. I'm like, why are they emotional? Because of the friends they lost and all this stuff, the friendships that they're hanging out. I would imagine you're hanging out the weekend, you have a danza, you're having beers, you're doing all this stuff, and that guy dies. That was your buddy. That was your road dog, right? Man. They experience these types of things. This country was built on the backs of a lot of people that sacrificed their lives, their time with their family, being on the road, traveling, not seeing the birth of their kids. I mean, that story's not being told. It's being sold with only the horror stories. Imagine if I'm your father, Adam, and the only stories I tell you is the worst stories of your grandparents. What if I only told you horrors? Like I said, do you realize us Jews were da-da-da-da-da? Do you know they did this? And do you know they did that? And you're like, man, I hate myself. I hate what blood I am. I hate there are people that are saying, I wish I wasn't born white. There are kids that are saying, I wish I wasn't born white. Why would a kid ever say that?
Horrible.
Because parents injected that hate in them.
For schools have done the same thing.
For what, bro? What are we doing with all this stuff? No. So I think it needs to get back to, you see somebody wearing a uniform, give them a shout out. You see somebody doing what they're doing, give them some respect. By the way, the parents here I have is Hattie Ruggles. I may not say it correctly. And I'm trying to see what the other relationships are. but I think it's a family, husband and wife, and they have a beautiful son, beautiful family. Shout out to you for raising that boy, okay? Good for you. Salute for you for raising a kid that speaks so eloquently, who hopefully one day is going to have some kind of things to run for. And you know where she is based out of? Her Instagram is out. I don't want to give the details, but she's based out of a great city in California, one of the only great cities left in California. Good for you. Respect to you guys. I applaud you tremendously. That kid's going places. If somebody from that community contacts me, I would like to find a way to contribute to his future. Personally, I am so proud of you, guy. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of your mom. You're in good hands. Future looks bright in America because of kids like this. That kid is a hero. We need to turn him into a hero and recognize him. So is his mother. Respect to you guys. Anyways, all right, let's go to the next story here. Next story we got, I wonder if I want to go here. Which one do we want to go with? Let's see what we haven't gone to yet. Okay. Do you want to go to that? Let's go to this. Okay. Rachel Morin murder, illegal immigrant from El Salvador, charged in rape, killing of Maryland, mom of 5. Let's see what the story looks like. All right. Is that the one? Rob, it says page 5 here. Is it page 5 or is it page 6?
I think it's
page 7. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's go through this again. Rachel Morin murder. Illegal immigrant from El Salvador charged in rape, killing of Maryland mom of 5. Victor Martinez Hernandez, a 23-year-old illegal immigrant from El Salvador, was charged with the first-degree murder and rape of Rachel Morin, a Maryland mother of 5. Sheriff Jeffrey Galler, Rob, I think you got a video of this, announced 5 hours after meeting with Morin's family. Police in Tulsa, Oklahoma, arrested Rachel's murderer. Criminal background: Martinez Hernandez had a violent history with DNA linking him to a March 2023 home invasion in LA and a murder in El Salvador in January of 2023. Galler stated he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother. That was our first DNA match linking Rachel's case to one in LA. Criticism of immigration policies: Sheriff Galler criticized the U.S. immigration policies, highlighting the failure to protect citizens from criminal crossing the border. Go ahead, Rob.
And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally.
You know what drives me crazy too? Do you know how far this place is in Maryland from the closest point of the border? 1,800 miles. So I'm tired of all these people going, oh, it's not that big of a problem. This guy, Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, 23 years old, he has a connection to a Salvadorian street gang and has a violent history. Okay, he crossed illegally into the United States in February 2023 from El Salvador after he reportedly killed another young woman from his home country. So he murders somebody there. He can easily come here because the border is wide the hell open. A month later, this is what they didn't report. A month later, he brutally attacks a 9-year-old girl and a mother in a home invasion. They didn't get into detail because it was so brutal on what this scumbag did. They caught him because of the DNA match inside of that house with the 9-year-old. Okay, he left DNA on the 9-year-old. That scumbag. So, by the way, this keeps happening. All right. By the way, just walking in here, PBD, I showed you an illegal migrant has been arrested for raping a 13-year-old girl at knife point out in broad daylight. And guess where? New York City. Okay. He came from Ecuador. And then an illegal alien that was involved in a fatal highway 285 crash in Colorado had been removed from the United States. Can anybody guess how many times he was in here, kicked out, and brought back in?
How many times?
16 times. All right. I'm sick and tired of this crap because it's not happening to the people of power. It's happening to people like this. That poor lady's family is devastated. Her 5 kids, they're all, no mother, okay? And they're all young, no mother. And it's happening under Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas' watch, and they don't care. And and I'm telling you right now, I'm not wishing nothing on anybody, but unless, PBD, it starts hitting home to these people until their wives start getting raped and murdered, till their children stop. How is it going to change? We keep hearing these stories.
You're not saying
I'm not saying
for that to happen.
No.
You're saying if it does, it's the only way they're going to know how much pain this is.
That's the only way to understand the pain,
Yeah.
because it's not fair, Pat, because they want votes. They want God knows what other stuff, sex trafficking. It's an endless flow of drugs and everything coming in, and it's not happening to them. They don't understand the pain, and it'll never change, and it drives me nuts.
Tom.
You know what's really sad to me is we are all frogs that get boiled in a pot. And you know the old adage, you drop a frog in hot water, he immediately jumps out. You put him into cool water, you turn up the flame, and he slowly boils to death because it just gets hotter, he doesn't notice. Some years ago, Michael Dukakis was running for president. And his policies allowed Willie Horton to come back on the street and kill again. One man, one kill. And that was so damaging because we as a nation were shocked that, okay, Dukakis, you want to be president? Where are you going to protect us? Where are you going to be tough on crime where it needs to be tough? And Willie Horton ad was incredibly damaging to him. And now we've got an invasion of millions, and we have dozens of examples here. Where is the outrage from the American voter? Pay attention, America. Look what's going on. We have seen this story before, and we're not shocked by it. Vinny's right. Everything he was talking about is right. 16 times? 16 times? Willie Horton was released twice, and the second time he killed again. What on earth? Where are we? Where's the outrage? We're a frog boiled in the pot and we don't care anymore. You have to wake up. November 5th is so important, and it's so critical for the safety of it. And I'm just shocked at how many times these things are happening now, and we've lost our shock. And over one guy in one campaign ad, we put a torpedo, as it should have been, into the campaign that Michael Dukakis was running for president, because he said, dude, you are not tough on crime.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the election versus Bush, when he tried to put on the helmet and go into the tank,
When
and he just looked
Dukakis,
Yeah, and he looked like a complete dork.
But that's strong words, Tom. You're absolutely right, Vinny. I think part of the there he is. I think part of the anger is that these stories out there, these anecdotes, ring true, and even Bill Maher said the other day, I think that we have an article that said immigration is going to get the Democrats effed on election day. He said the Democrats were headed for an election loss in November if they did not improve their position on immigration. I think we can all agree the number one issue in America today, based on every single poll, is the economy, stupid. Whether it's inflation, whether it's the cost of living, it is undoubtedly the economy. But beyond that, the two other issues that are just forefront in the Republican and Democratic strategy is Trump is absolutely right on immigration. It only takes 4 to 8 years to realize, maybe we should have built that wall. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe this open border policy ain't exactly a good look, because I think under Biden, I can't, every time I try to check the number, it's like, it's actually another million more than that. Whether it's 5, 8, 10 million, it's way more than happened under Trump, that happened under Obama, that happened under Bush. It's actually pretty shocking, the amount of numbers of people that have come to the country. And then you would think it's just South Americans, Latin Americans. They're finding Chinese, Turkmenistan. They just found out there was 5 people from Turkmenistan, from one of the Stan countries, that are literally terrorists, that are tracked to ISIS-K, that did the bombing in Russia. It's and then on the Democratic side of things, it's obviously abortion. But this immigration thing is a major problem for the Biden administration.
There's a couple things I want to show you. Rob, can you pull up this picture? I've been getting a lot of pictures like this. Folks, if you're at the airport as well and you're seeing this, are you sharing it? Everyone, I got one picture, I didn't tell anybody. Got second picture, didn't tell anybody. At this point, this is like the 10th text message I've gotten with people telling me what's going on. And those 10 people are not friends with each other. This is a picture, zoom in, Rob. This is at the airport this morning at O'Hare, 2 a.m., okay? Zoom in, and he says, I'm not sure why 300 Hispanics, and this flight is in Chicago. He says there were so many people that were there. Everybody was asking, why are you here? Conversations, what these guys are up to, what they're doing. I don't know what's going on. Gavin Newsom the other day, if you go to his Twitter account, I love what he says and how he's trying to gaslight the American people to see if they'll fall for it or not. And the reason why it's important to follow Gavin Newsom closely over the next month is because there may be some things that Steve Forbes, who was a former owner of Forbes until he sold it to China, he said, you have the shorter version, Rob, or is this the longer version?
This is the longer version.
Just put the first 20 seconds. You'll see what he's saying.
Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to navigate these turbulent times. President Biden's supercharged State of the Union address a few months ago quieted
It's going to take a long time. We can't get it. But all he's saying is, here's what I'll tell you he's saying. He's claiming that Biden's going to step out and someone's going to come in his place. And the one person that could be the one taking his place is a guy named Gavin Newsom. Now, Rob, go to Newsom's Twitter profile and zoom in a little bit if you could. Go a little lower. Hang on, slowly. Okay, go a little lower. It's the next one, I think. No, keep going. This one. Oh, here you go. California has doubled our National Guard at the border that are working to stop the fentanyl while the GOP plays games and Mike Johnson searches for a spine. We're out here doing the work. Oh, yeah, really? Okay, bro, with your glasses. Keep going a little lower.
With your glasses.
Joe
Biden's glasses.
Keep going lower.
Yep.
Don't let the GOP use the words. Keep going lower. This is not the one. Keep going lower. Keep going lower. There's another one. There, John. Keep going lower. Everyone should attention to Trump. Can't wait to see GOP spin this one. Keep going lower. Keep going lower. What is this? GOP block acceptation. Keep going lower. It has to do with immigration. Keep going lower. Keep going lower. You'll see it.
Dude, Gavin makes it so hard.
Let me see what this is. Here you go. Reminder that the GOP has refused to secure the border. They voted against 1,500 additional Border Patrol agents and CBP officers, 1,200 immigration and custom enforcement personnel, technology to stop the fentanyl. Only thing that they're interested in is playing politics. Oh, my God.
Accuse the other guy of what you're doing.
And read the comments. Watch the first one here. Kevin Dillon, okay? Says, pretended that the border wasn't an issue for a decade. Play the clip on this one at the Recode conference or the Code conference, whatever you want to call it. Go for it.
This whole damn border debate is made up. It's made up.
Okay, now go to the next one. Keep going lower.
Yeah, that's
the reaction of what people. Watch this one here. Play this one. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
California is poised to be, if this proposal is supported, the first state in the country to achieve universal access to health coverage. So what does that mean? It means full scope Medi-Cal, including long-term care, IHSS, behavioral health to all low-income Californians, and regardless of immigration status.
Bingo. So who's he talking about? Regardless of immigration status. Go a little lower. Just read the comments what people are saying. Passed 2 years ago by Schumer. Okay, H.R. 2, which was an actual border bill, was passed 2 years ago, and both Biden and Schumer refused to allow for a vote in the Senate. Biden EO is a PR stunt that still allows 1.75 million invaders per year. As always, you're full of shit, Gavin. So the reaction of what's going on and the card he's going to be playing, Forbes thinks there's going to become somebody jumping in. Charlie Kirk said something saying, Tom, what did Charlie Kirk say?
Charlie Kirk is saying over the weekend and late last night that the Biden swap is getting ready, warming up in the bullpen.
I agree. And you know why it's such a gangster? I mean, it's a smart move from the left because they're demons. Think about this. If they do a late swap, what is Trump going to argue with him about? Obviously, he can make the shift and talk crap about California. But Donald Trump has so much ammunition about Joe Biden. If it switches to Newsom, he doesn't have
Trump's going to be fine.
But not as bad. But he's better against Biden.
You're right.
Yeah.
No.
He's a flickster.
There is no question. What's it? Be ready for July surprise. Very possible they pull Biden and sentence Trump to prison on July 11th. I agree about the July 11th part. The entire race could be just about to change. Yes, because think about dates. June 27th is a debate. They were not expecting Trump to accept the June 27th debate. CNN was surprised that he accepted the debate. But he accepted the debate June 27th. July 11th is the sentencing, okay? July 15th is what? The RNC, okay? And then August 10th or whatever is what? The DNC. The date, why did they not do July 19th, 3 days after the RNC? Why did the judge, you think accidentally they choose July 11th? No, we said this on the podcast whenever that emergency podcast was with the dates. Adam, thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, you know how I feel on that. Whether it's for good or for bad, I think they're riding with Biden, and we'll see what happens there. I just don't agree with that. But back to immigration. Look, this is a complicated issue that neither the Republicans or the Democrats have been able to figure out. Nobody's put together a good plan. We've seen the open border situation just completely exacerbate the problem. And this could, amongst the litany of issues that are going to bring Joe Biden down, this could be number one right there, other than the economy right there. But the problem that I have is that whether it's Gavin Newsom or whether it's going on in New York, whether it's these sanctuary cities, why are they prioritizing immigrants over citizens? They're giving them money. They're giving them shelter. How much did they give them in the debit card? $10,000. They're giving them homes. They're shutting down schools to accommodate these people. It's like, PBD, one time you said a story about, when we're young, we idolize our parents. But then as we grow older, we villainize our parents. But then as we get older and we become parents ourselves, we humanize our parents. And I think that's what's kind of going on with the immigration situation. The left is idolizing these people. Let them in. They need a place. Give them everything more. Give them more. And then there's the people on the right that are villainizing a lot of these people because a lot of them are trying to come into this country to have a better life. Yes, a lot of them are actual fucking criminals, and we need to find
murderers and rapers of 12-year-olds. Yeah.
But the vast majority aren't. So I think we need to sort of humanize this problem and realize that they should not get preferential treatment. But at the same time, like Biden is coming up with a new plan to offer pathway to legal status to migrants who have lived here for 10 years and don't have a criminal past. That might be something good to consider, the whole Dreamers Act. There's also another act that they're putting together, a bill where they're going to give if you're married to a citizen, then you should get preferential treatment to citizenship. Okay, I understand that. But at the end of the day, there needs to be some accountability here, and they need to stop basically idolizing illegal immigrants. Joe Biden wants to call them welcome newcomers. The reality is they're illegal. They've crossed the border illegally. They've broken the law. And if Trump says we need a big, beautiful door, and legal immigration should be rewarded, not illegal immigration.
Adam, when you ask, sorry to cut you off, Tom, when you ask why, why are they, it's blatantly obvious why, Adam. It's a list. It's votes, because we know you don't even need ID to vote in some of these, 16 out of 50 states. It's cheap labor. It's sex trafficking victims, because that's about, 90,000 missing children. No bodies, there's a corpse. No, missing children, okay? An influx of that. Drugs, terrorists, that they're giving people cell phones, military fighting age men. It's all a plan. Dude, it's a constant flow of, they have 5 different categories to 10 categories that they could pull the trigger and use whatever they want for this board. That's the why. That's why.
Vinny, you're right. You have a right to be upset about it. But I step back to the vision. The big vision is permanent power and one-party control over the citizens that they couldn't win over. I'll say it again. Permanent power and one-party control over the citizens they couldn't win over. So it's not that they're giving preferential treatment to immigrants. They are giving them a path to citizenship to be voters for them. And they don't care about the sex trafficking that happens along the way. And they don't care what they call isolated incidents of rapes and murders. That is just part of the price of what they're doing. This is what's going on. You have to step back and look at the bigger vision. That's what they want to do. And then you go down to from the macro view to the micro view. Liberals recently make messes. Conservatives are trying to clean up messes. Give you 2 examples. Minneapolis and Portland defund the police. 18 months later, excuse me, the citizens want the police back because things are happening. I mean, the liberal citizens want the police back. They wanted them back in Portland. They want them back in Minneapolis. They can't even get enough people, regular citizens, able-bodied, smart enough people to be cops in Seattle right now. They can't even get them to do it. And then you've got people like San Francisco Mayor London Breed, Eric Adams, New York, who are turning to the federal government. Oh, give me money, give me money, give me money for the programs like debit cards and stuff. Eric Adams, I'm talking to you. Do you want to give it to these people? These are all the techniques and symptoms you're seeing on the outside. But the poison they want is a permanent one-party control over the citizens who refuse to vote for it.
Mm-hmm. We will see. We will see what's going to happen. June 27th is, 2 weeks away? Yeah. And then the June 27th, while, we're doing our thing, we'll be reacting that night to it as well. And then we'll see what happened July 11th. And then we'll see what happened July 15th. This is going to be the debate we'll be doing on June 27th. I'm not the host. It's just we're doing a podcast, by the way. The way they put the thumbnail.
You look very presidential, though.
Trump looks very confident. Biden looks a little concerned. He looks a little nervous on what he's got.
I hope you don't mind. I'm going to allow you to be the host of the PBD podcast.
No problem. Listen,
what a sweet guy you are.
You're
I was going to DEI and give it to Tom, but nope.
No, it's. I think I'm the most qualified DEI guy, and I got all the colors backed up.
Well, you're 5'4" according to online, so we got to give it to
130 pounds.
130.
I'm DEI. Who are you talking to, white boy?
Tom's gangster today, y'all.
Yes.
When Tom gets pissed, Tom gets pissed. This is why. Look, something happened. Adam filed a complaint last week. I wasn't happy about it. There was one of the traffic signs down the street that we had here. He was suggesting we change it. And it reminded me of the story. Los Angeles removes traffic signs used to target and prosecute gay community.
Thank God. Yeah.
And this is a travesty, obviously.
Thank you for helping me out.
Yeah, no, but for you, it's not the gay community. It was a different sign. But here, Los Angeles officials removed the last of the no cruising, no U-turns, midnight to 6 a.m. signs in Silver Lake, which I'm very familiar with that city, which were originally posted in 1997 to target and persecute gay men.
Ooh.
Council member Nithya Raman acknowledged the signs as part of the city's real and present homophobia. Councilman Hugo Soto Martinez highlighted the significance of removing these signs during Pride Month, noting that the remnants of such bigotry persist in Silver Lake. Decades after the Black Cat protests, he emphasized that the signs were used to target and persecute the LGBTQ community. The issue resurfaced when Silver Lake resident Donovan Daughtry raised awareness after hearing about the neighborhood's queer history on a podcast. Albert LeBaron, not LeBron, LeBaron, co-owner of a local gay bar, remarked that the signs targeted those who had nowhere else to go and were simply seeking community. Can you please play this wonderful clip?
What? Somebody crashes right now?
I don't understand.
Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these
that guy's gay?
These U-turn signs were still up. And at first, they seem a little, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
The LA City Council members say the signs were put up after the gay community began to grow.
Tom,
and because
what thoughts on this story?
Well, they're also upset with other signs. Apparently, all the signs that say one way, they want those taken down.
They hate those.
Because LGBTQ, many ways, so they want one-way signs taken down. They also want, for reasons I won't go into, do not enter. They want all of those taken down.
Those are taken down. Those are going to be taken down Friday.
Taken down as well. Those come down Friday.
Yep.
And then the last one, which they say is a civil rights violation, is be prepared to stop. So it's like they're upset about everything. Now, insurance is going to go up because accidents in America are moments from skyrocketing when all the signs come down.
And then people wonder why. And it's funny. You talked about Gavin Newsom. This is Gavin Newsom's Florida. This is tax. This is
Gavin Newsom's California.
California. This is what they're spending their day and tax dollars on, is ignorant, time-wasting crap like this. And by the way, I don't know about the rest of you guys. Seeing a drag queen in daylight is scary as shit. Did you see that? Those people are scary as hell when the sun is out and on them. I think it's ridiculous. That's indicative of what California is all about. Besides the crime and the border and the taxes and the money, that's what the people that work for the government are doing every single day. The signs are offensive. Let's take down a U-turn sign. That's unbelievable, but it doesn't surprise me that that's happening.
We were just in LA this past week. PBD was invited to a very high-level conference. And as you saw, we had a horrible situation with a restaurant used to be good. But you look around L.A., are there enough problems in L.A. to be dealing with right now than taking down an effing sign that was put up there in the 1990s?
1,000%.
You got homeless people there. You've got human waste that's right on the street. You're walking past the Santa Monica, the Promenade Mall down there, and you can smell the urine between the buildings as you walk by. The waft comes out and say, what is this? And they say, well, the homeless people go between those buildings right there and they pee at night. Really? And this is a shopping area and you just walk and all of a sudden you get hit in the face with this horrible aroma and you're like, really? Why would anybody come here to shop if this is it?
Yeah. And if you keep voting for these people, I feel zero remorse for you. If you keep voting for people like Gavin Newsom and you're there, and a lot of people that I was there were complaining to me about it, I'm like, yo, do not complain. You're not trying to make any changes. There's recalls. They had what Larry Elder tried to recall, which I think personally would have changed a hell of a lot of regulations and stuff for Cali. But no, good for you.
You get what you vote for.
You're damn right. So good for you.
Well, that's great that they took down the no U-turn sign. I heard that, Tom, you're putting up some signs. I thought of another side that they could possibly put up, caution, wide load, but we've seen that on the highways before, but we'll see what happens there. The thing when I think, I didn't even hear about the story.
Lizzo.
When I think about, Lizzo, when I think about no U-turns, I think of once you do the trans cutting it off thing and you give the hormone blockers and you do the puberty blockers and you try to change your sex, there's no U-turns there, guys. I don't know about penis reattachment surgery, how that works, but I got zero problem with the L's, the G's, the B's. The problem I got is the T's. The T's, what they're doing with the kids, the laws that are being passed that allow kids to take these hormone blockers and puberty blockers and change their sex before they're even adolescents, I think is insane to me. I have a major problem with dudes who haven't done the U-turn thing yet, playing in female sports. I think that's a massive problem, and I think it's going to get even uglier when they start playing combat sports. The biggest problem I have is just the agenda. If you want to be gay, if you want to be bi, if you want to be lesbian, do your thing. If you even want to be trans, leave the kids alone, stay out of sports, and enough with the LGBTQIA plus agenda.
All right, let's talk about Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has given a talk last week, okay? And he starts talking about robots. Rob, if you can play this clip. And the market reacts when he says how big he thinks the robot business and the market could be. Check this out.
I think everyone in the world is going to want one, like literally everyone. And then there'll be obviously robots in industry making stuff and. So, I mean, I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will probably be at least 2 to 1, something like that. 1 to 1 for sure, so, which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots. Maybe 20 or 30. And so then it's like, okay, well, let's say, you kind of make, let's say the build rate is, I think the build rate will be probably something ultimately like 1 billion a year. Humanoid robots, like actually. And if Tesla just has a 10% share of that, and it might be a lot more than 10%, and there's, we make like 100 million Optimus units a year. For reference, the auto industry is roughly 100 million vehicles per year. So that, sort of similar ballpark, at least within an order of magnitude. And I think we could make one for a cost of maybe at really high scale of about $10,000. It's smaller. It'd be less expensive than a car. So, and I think if you sell it for $20,000 or something, this is at large scale volume. Tesla would basically make about $1 trillion of profit a year.
Bingo!
Wow, $1 trillion.
Yeah. By the way, that's how. First of all, I want to know who that kid is screaming in the background and why the parents are not walking him out. That's number one.
Yeah.
While he's speaking. 2, only a man with 10 kids does not get distracted with that sound. Okay? A single man would be distracted in a heartbeat. I was
distracted the whole time.
But a man who has 10 kids is like, I'm so used to it, it's not a big deal. But Tom, thoughts on this story when you heard it?
So I think he's absolutely right. He's talking about a humanoid robot. And humanoid robot has 2 arms, 2 legs, and it's actually mobile. That's what he's talking about. But there are robot arms right now. There are 100. I think there's over 100,000 robot arms that are in factories right now that go down, sense, and position and make a weld. You see them because welds are hot and a lot of sparks and everything, and they actually can do it safer than a person can do and more accurately. And so that's part one. Now just put 2 arms together and they're lifting up a windshield and turning it with the sensors and putting it right in place. You're seeing robots do this now. Now take the humanoid robot, which can walk around and do tasks in your house. Or we've seen those little robots that run around the Amazon factories, the little round ones. They precisely come in, they pick things up like a load, and they carry it on. So you're seeing all that. So what is so surprising about a humanoid robot that would have legs that would actually move around the factory or do things like that? When he says everybody would want one, it's a robot that senses and cleans up your kitchen. A robot that senses and where all the dishes are and stuff and does that. I've seen images of 2 arms that are actually folding laundry. So what he's talking about is we're getting to a point where little tasks that take up a lot of time during the day, a lot of those could be done by a humanoid robot that could be built for $10,000, sold for $20,000, and it's basically your household helper. You remember the little maid robot that was on the Jetsons, the little blue one?
Rosie the robot.
Yep. It's we're headed there, and that's what he's talking about. We already have high-end multi-sensor robots that are in assembly lines doing a lot of stuff that used to be 2 workers lifting the windshield into place. Now you've got robot arms doing it. I think he's right, and it's coming, and it's not I don't think it's what we fear it's going to be, but I think he's right. There's a whole lot of manufacturing jobs.
You seem like you're afraid.
No, I mean, if you think about it, do you guys remember the flame-throwing robot that they're selling right now? That is the scariest shit I've seen.
The dog.
It's a dog.
With sensors and a camera.
How is it not illegal if, Raul's going to find this thing? Bro, this is the scariest shit I've seen, and it's legal to buy in the United States. And look, you could buy that right now. I'm not even joking, okay? It's public to buy right now. That thing, my fear is, Tom, those robots that he's talking about, Pat, what's to say, besides people hacking into the robot and making it do whatever the hell, cut to, what if somebody...
Rob, can you place an order for 3 of those? Go ahead, keep going, Vinny. I'm listening.
To light birthday candles in the office? But PBD...
Don't let my kids see this because they're going to want one.
Tico's going to want that in 2
Tico's going to be
seconds.
right now.
But how long do you think until, Pat, people, let's say China, I'm just being, they're advanced. They make, let's say, 500,000 of these robots. And by the way, they could fly spy balloons and we never stop them. What's to say? They fly over, they drop... 10,000 of these robots here, 10,000 over here, and they use them as a military type of ground invasion, Tom. We're not that far off. If that is happening right
Vinny,
now.
we have drones now. Just put legs on them and let them land.
That's what I'm saying. So the fear, I get it. It's what is it called?
You're right. That is how warfare will be.
Oh, 1,000%.
The frontline soldier will be replaced by these.
But yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, listen, it's all good because it makes life easier. You know what I mean? Obviously, having a rope, dude, I have a Roomba. Before I left, I turned it on. That thing is cleaning my whole entire apartment right now by itself. I love her. Her name is Daisy. That's neither here nor there. We have a relationship. But what I'm saying is
Daisy the Roomba.
Yeah, the future is really scary because right now it's nice. It's cleaning the house. It's doing this. It could put boxes away at IKEA. But the future is going to be scary, especially when these things start to think for themselves.
Adam.
Well, now I know what Vinny's doing on the weekends when I don't see you.
Don't talk about her.
All
Do not talk about her. Seriously.
Right there. But I was actually going to go right here where Tom was. This lady right here, we all grew up with the Jetsons. Fun fact about the Jetsons, it was actually created in 1962, and it actually technically took place in 2062, 100 years later. We also grew up on Back to the Future, where Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly, was literally flying cars. The funny joke is oh, you guys are living in 2024. Elon Musk is living in 3024. The reality is Elon Musk is creating the future before our eyes, whether it's robots, whether it's electric vehicles, whether it's AI. To people out there, there's things that they're going to benefit them with these robots and the hands, and we've seen the dogs and the army and all that. But the thing that people have to be afraid of is, how are these people going to replace your job? Whether you're a truck driver, there's autonomous vehicles, whether you're cleaning, certain jobs are going to be replaceable, whether it's AI, whether it's robots. Skills pay the bills. Make sure that you're adapting and keeping up with the times.
Strippers, just, you know what I mean? Their jobs are secure, right?
Vinny,
nobody's going to go watch a robot stripper. Look at me. No, nobody's going to do that.
You'd be shocked.
Strippers are good.
Vinny.
No, who's going to watch a robot stripping? You throw oil, they're going to malfunction.
Vinny, you said that you would have an AI girlfriend. You would endorse that.
Oh, what, dude, of course, just to talk to somebody. Just to talk
Vinny,
to her.
I mean this sincerely, brother. You good?
No.
You okay, bro?
All right, let's go to the
I'm good, Adam.
Let's go to the next story. Tom, I'm coming to you with this one. The number of Americans filing for jobless benefits unexpectedly spikes to 10-month high. Now, that is actually a good sign if you want interest rates to lower. So hang tight before you are sitting there worried about this. Hang tight for a second. So here we go. The number of Americans filing for unemployment and benefits increased by 13,000 to 242,000 the week ending June 8th, the highest level in 10 months, surpassing the pre-pandemic average of 218 and indicating a potential cooling of the labor market due to high interest rates. Contributing claims, those filed by Americans consecutively receiving unemployment benefits, rose by 30,000 to 1.82 million for the week ending June 1st. Bill Adams, chief economist for Comerica Bank, stated that while jobless claims are volatile, this increase might signal a sustained higher unemployment rate. Despite the surge, the labor market remains historically tight, with the economy adding 272,000 jobs in May and the unemployment rate ticking up to 4%. Tom?
Well, first of all, the big number to look at is now we have 1.82 million people sustained unemployed that are actually being counted as receiving benefits. That's a big number. And now, pre-pandemic, okay, this is the fall. This is Q4 2019. Before the spring of 2020, we all know the basketball game, everything happened, and it was, off and running with COVID and the pandemic, was 218,000. Now we're up to 242. So after all this up and down of the COVID and everything that's gone on, now we have more new unemployment benefits being filed each week and the highest level in 10 months. Now, why is this good for interest rates? It's bad for these people and these poor families. But what it means is that when unemployment goes up, now there's extra people available for jobs. And that means it's less that usually wage growth usually stalls a little bit. And wage growth is tied to inflation because wages go up. Business employs a bunch of people with wages going up. They raise the price of the product. There's inflation, wage, product, and the cycle. Well, now this is showing that it's cooling a little bit, which also could lead to maybe the Fed making 2 cuts between now and the end of the year. September and December is what a couple major banks think will be, so that you could be at 6.75 for mortgages by the end of the year. Right now, it's still a tick over 7. So this is a sign that all the raising of interest rates by the Fed and other things, are settling, even though it is hard for the consumers that are being impacted.
Let me continue with the stories that were here with economy. Fed's Kashkari says it's reasonable to predict December rate cuts. And then Barron says why the Fed is unlikely to cut interest rates before December. Now, some are saying it's going to happen by September. Some are saying it's not going to be happening. Let me read both of these stories. Let me read one of these stories to you. Federal Reserve Chairman Powell made it clear that a rate cut before December is unlikely, emphasizing the bar to cut the federal funds rate from its current 5.25 to 5.5 target remains high. He stated that it would take a convincing slowdown in inflation or a sudden spike in the unemployment rate for any change, adding neither seemed likely this summer. Despite May's lower than expected inflation data, Powell noted the persistence of high shelter prices, which have risen 0.4% for 4 straight months and 5.4% from earlier this year. Powell reiterated the Fed stance. If the economy remains solid and inflation persists, we're prepared to remain the target range for federal funds rate as long as appropriate. Powell also noted the Fed's latest projection, just 1/4 percentage point interest rate reduction in 2024, down from 3 cuts in March. Damn. Tom.
Well, this is what we were just talking about. So the Fed is saying, hey, I'm really not sure about September. And remember, Kashkari, remember that word, Kashkari. Well, Kashkari goes out. He is the Jean-Pierre for Powell. And so he comes out and he makes these speeches, and he's with the Minneapolis Federal Reserve President, Neil Kashkari. So he goes out and makes statements, floats them out there. But it's when Powell speaks is actual policy and the actual position statement. So basically what they're saying is, unless we get a spike in unemployment, whoops, what just happened yesterday? We just saw that. Jobless claims up. And so that's leading the banks to say, I hear you, Fed. I hear what you're saying. Don't expect it in September, maybe 1/4 point cut in December. But we think the jobs data and everything else is going to cause you to cut twice. The basically end thing is From the beginning of the year, we speculated about 4 cuts. We speculated about 3 cuts. It's all coming home here, and it looks like there is going to be the beginning of the cuts, whether it's September or December. But we are now on the eve in the second half of this year getting the cuts, which will give a little bit relief to mortgage rates, a little bit of relief to auto loans, and that's where we're going.
Adam.
Well, don't look now, but we're basically 4.5 months before Election Day 2024. So what I think is everything that's going on in the economy is sort of baked in the cake. Biden isn't going to do anything to change the economy in his favor, nor is he going to do anything to try to dismantle what they've already done. Jerome Powell's already come out there and basically said, listen, we're kind of keeping it as is. If this happens in December, that's after the election. So I think where the inflation is right now, I think where unemployment is right now, I think where the Fed fund rate is right now, it is what it is. And if Trump gets elected, I think Jerome Powell's seen his final days. Obviously, Janet Yellen will no longer be Treasury Secretary. Trump's floated names like Arthur Laffer, if you're familiar with the Laffer curve, or the Kevin guys, Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. But I think it is what it is. I think we are where we are. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to wait and see what happens on Election Day to see what happens with the economy.
Until then, we still have a major affordability crisis of the cumulative impact. All these things we're talking about are the signs that we're about, I think, to tick a little bit different. But the affordability for the average American is still horrifying.
Tom, FYI, this is not good for Biden, because what Americans will forgive you on is, say if he were to lower the rates, and I'm talking Powell, say if he were to lower the rates and you see sudden, slow movements, the 3 rate cuts, this would have been very big for Biden if we would have had the 3 rate cuts. The fact that Powell is saying it's not going to happen until December, this benefits a couple different things. One, I think it benefits a healthier economy, because for people to, and I would be happy without lowering rates at all in 2024, and we wait till Q2 of next year. Let's just kind of let it roll the way we're going to cool everything off. But politically, kind of helps one guy, and he's got a house in the city called the Beaches of the Palm. It's a lot of
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago. Not Mara-Saba. It's Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago. Different than Mara.
It's a different thing right there,
It's a
PBD.
different Mara. Yeah, but It is what it is that he's got that going on. So, all right, let's go to the next story. So, where's the story about Biden trying to walk off the stage, Rob? Is that at the fundraiser? So let me read. Is that the G7 or is that the fundraiser?
No, it's a fundraiser. The G7 was something different.
Yeah, there's a couple different things.
Biden raises $30 million at LA fundraiser featuring, you ready? Barack Obama, Clooney, and Julia Roberts. Oh, yeah. Okay? Leave the flippin' world behind. All in one room. Biden's LA fundraiser featuring Obama, Clooney, Roberts raised a record $30 million plus, with the president flying directly from G7 summit in Italy to attend, underscoring the event's importance. Jimmy Kimmel interviewed Biden and Obama, and Biden emphasizing, we have the strongest economy in the world. And Obama urging the audience, don't hiss, vote. When Roe v. Wade was mentioned, the event marked by performances from Jack Black, Sheryl Lee Ralph, and saw Biden discussing significant legislative achievements and expressing concerns about Trump's appointing for more Supreme Court justices, warning he's going to appoint 2 more who fly their flags upside down. And while this is taking place, there was a moment at the end of the event, which everybody was talking about, left, right, and center. This is what happened, and even Karine Jean-Pierre had to respond to it. Go ahead, Rob.
Biden has no idea. Look, he's stuck. Oh, hey, we gotta go, Joe. Yeah, look. And then hand him the bag, PBD, and guides him off the whole time.
Trump doesn't walk like
No, hell, look at his arm, dude. Look at how sad that is, man.
And so what are they saying about it? Some are saying he wasn't helped. Some are, what are they saying?
No. So what's happening is all Karine Jean-Pierre, a bunch of different people. I got into it with a bunch of people on X. One guy on an account on X. And by the way, this is every single left-leaning. What's the guy that you were listening to, PBD? When we walked in here, that guy too.
Soren.
The guy that we had on the podcast here. That's like, no, it's all those two twerps. Anyway,
Vinny, you're very angry.
There's one guy. No, I'm not angry. It's just they're twerps, and I know they get paid to do what they do. Brian Tyler Cohen was on X saying that this is fake. It's not real. And the most ironic thing is that his show is called No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, and then Karine Jean-Pierre, the worst DEI hire in the history of DEI hires, comes in front of the White House. Mind you, everybody out there, you guys all saw exactly what happened. Joe Biden is stuck like he always is. Obama had to grab him and then guide him all the way and basically get him off the thing. Look at what this clown says about what happened.
There were two instances in recent days where leaders, former President Obama and Georgia Maloney of Italy, they physically put hands on the president to guide him and show him, give stage directions. Are they doing that on their own, or has anybody asked them to run the show like that?
First of all, let me spoke to the most recent, right? And as we saw on Saturday, President Obama's office put out a statement. So I would refer you to that statement about what was being accused in those.
We didn't see it with our eyes
by others, and he said this did not happen in the sense of what people were saying they were seeing, right? Or what was being falsely reported that they were seeing. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw.
Oh, okay.
You saw the president put his hand on the back of President Biden, and
she's reading.
And they walked off the stage after taking questions or at an event taking questions from.
And Rob, there's one more that she says deep fake. She's like, they're deep fake. Like, there's a lot of deep fakes happening right now. Like, by the way, this is her saying to us, this is how stupid they think that you are. You didn't see what you saw. Okay, because Obama put out a statement saying that's not what you saw. So listen to Obama, not your eyes. I think this is it when she says deep. What is it called, Robbie? Deep somethings?
She calls them deep fakes.
Let's see it. Yeah, can we see this one? She's reading.
Conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate, Republicans are here.
Desperate, yeah,
and
for sure.
Instead of
she's glowing. What a horrible jacket choice. You're glowing.
And what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country. We're seeing these deep fakes.
And she does the whole. If you watch Obama,
even Maloney did it, right? We showed it a couple weeks ago. Adam, what are your thoughts on this here? Like, you have an opinion?
Yeah, I have a massive opinion here, but I'm going to focus on the purpose of the event, which was a fundraiser, not like Michael Scott does in The Office, a fundraiser. But yeah, we can show Biden being slow and old for days. I mean, that's nothing new here. What is new is the fact that the $30 million they raised in one night was the most successful, largest raise in the history of the Democratic Party. So you put Obama, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and you throw in a little bit of Jack Black for a little comedy act, and you got Jimmy Kimmel, who's the stooge of the left. You raised $30 million in a night. I would call that a successful evening for the Democratic Party. By the way, ticket prices range from $250, easy access right there, to $500,000, which got you front row seats, a photo with both presidents, Obama and Biden, and then, after the party, it's the after party. You got to go party with Joe Biden. Ain't no party like a Joe Biden party. We all know that.
Point.
Yeah. Riding with Biden. But follow the money here. There's a website called Open Secrets. Shout out to Rob O'Rourke for bringing me onto that. But here's the, they say follow the money. Here's the money count of what's going on between the three major candidates. When I mean two major candidates, and then RFK. Joe Biden has raised $300 million. This is talking about just for the campaign. He spent $185 million already, and has $160 million cash on hand. Trump a little bit behind Biden, has raised $244 million, has spent $203 million, and still has $107 million cash on hand. Then a distant RFK, and they're saying that he has a cash crunch, has raised $95 million, spent $64 million, and has about $30 million on hand. We all know that he picked Nicole Shanahan, who was the Silicon Valley attorney, former spouse to one of the Google boys, Sergey Brin, and she contributed, I think, $10 million to the campaign. But follow the money here. The famous quote from the president, James Garfield, we talk about him all the time, the 20th president of the United States. He said, "He who controls the money of a nation controls the nation." So if you want to know a reason why Biden still has a chance, despite how old, senile, decrepit he is that he's out there raising money. And we'll see if Trump can compete with that in the purse category.
But my question, because Adam, you kind of just brushed over it, because the main thing was that doesn't bother you that the guy has been for the past 4 years, and it's getting really bad this past, I'll say 3 months. He's freezing. The Juneteenth thing, his hands get stuck like this. They have to guide him everywhere. He can't speak coherently.
Yeah, but I'm with you, but this isn't a new story. We've been doing this for 4 years. So is there something new?
No. But what I'm saying is it's getting to the point where, because to me, this is the president, this is the leader of the free world. The nuclear, remember the nuclear codes, everybody worried about Trump. This guy is clearly not in charge. So whatever, and that's why Trump is such a threat, because Trump never said, hey, they said I can't talk. He's not running the show. Rob, you have another video of him in the White House I sent you? Did you see yesterday? They're trying to yell questions at him, and he goes, he mumbles to a little bit, right? This one right here. This is the president of the United States in the White House trying to be professional. Look at this guy. I made a video making fun of him too.
Me here in the Oval Office, and I look very much forward to the summit in Washington, D.C. next month. Thank you.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Watch. Look at the president of the United States. Watch.
He's clowning the.
No, he's clowning that. Well, listen. You're the president. You're not supposed to act like a psycho. So what I'm saying is, Adam, does it bother you that he's the president of the United States isn't running the country? He's not making. That guy's not making decisions. Do you know what I mean? Besides the money, I can care less. That money's going to go to Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. It doesn't bother you that he's not in charge?
Well, listen, we're not in the White House. I'll tell you one thing that our friend Cuomo said to me that it's even scarier. Is he said that he has he told us this at lunch. I'm not going to name names. And he said, you don't want to know what's scary that Biden not running the country is that he's actually the one running the country. So which one do you want it? Is there someone pulling the strings and the puppet that's behind him? Do you want that?
I don't want it.
Or do you want Biden behind the wheel? Here's the reality though, Vin.
That is
and I know that obviously you're not a fan of Biden, and I've already come out and said I can't possibly endorse this guy and vote for this guy. And you can quote me.
Okay.
He's going to be the nominee. He's going to have millions and hundreds of millions of dollars behind him. And it's going to be, wait for it, a close election. It is what it is, bro.
And why is it going to be a close election? Because all the illegals that are here that are actually going to vote for this person, the person that they're promising the future?
If that's the angle you want to go, sure. But there's also something. What's the story about the double haters? PBD, what page is that? 16? Here's a story. This is the election that nobody wants, the dread election. The share of double haters hits historic high. Pew Research, pretty credible, shows that 25% of Americans hold unfavorable views of both President Biden and President Trump, the highest percentage of double haters in the last 10 elections. So the reality is this election is going to come down to 6% of voters in 6 states. Listen, Biden's at 40%, Trump's at 41%. Those are the numbers, bro. Is it possible for Biden to win? Well, yeah. Even in Vegas, he's just a slight underdog. So I don't, God forbid, there's this talk of this civil war. God forbid Trump wins. I'm actually rooting for the guy. I don't want the guy to go to jail. I actually would love for him to kind of bring the country together. But you know,
Michelle and Kevin.
Trump and
look
Biden
at the
are
most important one on that list. What is
Michelle
the most?
Obama?
No, not at all.
Robert
Newsom.
Kennedy? Oh, Newsom's creeping up.
No, he's not
Newsom
creeping up.
has
He's
dropped
creeping down.
tremendously.
Where was he? Where was he?
He was
And
at
so
14 to 1 at one point.
Yeah, so what they're
Yeah.
saying for sure is Kamala's not going to be the president.
Definitely
That's
not.
for sure.
Thank God.
Newsom 50 to 1.
Yeah.
For wow, that's actually for some of the people that are bettors, that's actually not a bad bet in case last minute they did something. Put a thou on it, you'll make 50.
Yeah.
RFK 28 to 1. Nikki Haley is ahead of Newsom, Vinny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is Vegas odds. They're not going to give up money if they didn't know what was going
Exactly.
on. But Michelle is still
And
right there.
Yeah, Michelle's right. So basically what they're saying is, and I've been saying for years, Michelle has never served in office. I don't think she's ever going to run for office. I think it's a pipe dream.
Neither did
but
Trump,
Trump
didn't run for office.
Thanks, Vinny. But he's been flirting with running for office for
He could flirt.
40 years.
She was married to the president.
Let me ask you a random question, Adam. Here's a random question for you. Okay, so Biden doesn't look good. Let's say actually he's hospitalized. Let's say he's hospitalized, and it goes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not looking good. First week, they tell us he's going to be fine. He's just doing a regular checkup, and they're going to come out and they're doing a small little procedure. Second week, third week, now it's getting serious. Now they have to come out and, Health Matters takes over. He is how old, Rob? 81?
He's 81.
Okay.
Trump just turned 78.
Right,
Obviously,
but
that's a big difference.
Trump does not look 78.
Correct.
He acts like
I'm with you.
So if that takes place, Tom, what happens?
I think they ultimately will, exercise the amendment. And the amendment is we all know there's an amendment in the Constitution
25th
for the incapacitated president. And if the president is incapacitated and deemed that he cannot serve the office, not because you're unconscious after you had a surgery, but because your health situation is now deteriorating and you are incapable, you are incapable on reasonable conclusion of continuing presidency, the vice president becomes president. That's it. That's
So by the way, purely statistically, it's not a bad bet to bet on Kamala right now for becoming a president.
If that happens,
no, because just forget about the possibilities and all this stuff. It's a health matter. That's a real thing. 81. He does not look good. He looks like he's going through something.
He's an old 81.
Yes.
As I said.
So if something happens the next few months, okay, Kamala could very likely be a president, even if it's for 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah. I think what we're discussing is two separate issues. Is there a chance that, God forbid, something happens with Biden over the next few months? Believe me, I'd rather have Joe Biden run the country than Kamala Harris. I think that's the last thing we want. That's why she's not even favored above Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Nobody wants that. But I think what we're talking about is who's running in 2024. And I'm this isn't my specialty, but candidates don't get anointed. They go through delegate process and they go through the super delegates, and there's going to be a whole process to who they're going to nominate during the DNC. They can't be like, well, Michelle, you got it, baby. Go ahead, go for it. No, there's going to be a process to this. But again, I'll continue to remind you, despite what all the haters say, Joe Biden's the guy.
Okay, we bet $100, so we'll see.
We bet $1,000.
Yeah, I have a bet.
Oh.
I have a bet with Tom for $1,000. I have a bet with Byron Udell for $1,000. But you, scared to put your money where your mouth is, only $100.
$1,000 goes to Wounded Warriors.
You're giving me the money, and I'm going to donate to the charity of my choice, Tom.
Yeah, tell him.
Oh, really? Now it's going to the charity of your choice.
I said that on day one.
We're going to go, no. The bullshit alarm just hit 10. You said it's for you and you were keeping it. And then you were dissing Wounded Warriors, dude. Let's go back. Let's not revise history. So you just had a full Democrat relapse, amigo.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, let's
just be prepared to give me a check for $1,000 or cash, and I'll figure it out what I'm doing
The
with
bet
it.
is,
Thanks, sir.
at the conclusion of the Democratic convention, if Joe Biden is the nominee, I'll give you $1,000. If
correct.
Not, you give me $1,000.
That's how bets work. Thank you. Just be prepared to pay.
Let's go to.
Well, I always seem to have to repeat truth for you.
Let's go back to this last one.
You're going to do it on air, though.
before we wrap up today's wonderful, peaceful podcast.
This actually hasn't been contentious.
This guy named Alejandro Jones, also known as Alex Jones.
Oh, he's Spanish now?
The Sandy Hook families want to seize his social media accounts. Rob, if you can have this clip ready. The families of Sandy Hook massacre victims are seeking to take control of Alex Jones' social media accounts as part of the liquidation of his assets in a bankruptcy lawsuit. This follows Jones being held liable for nearly $1.5 billion in damages for falsely claiming the 2012 mass shooting was faked. An agreement was reached last week for Jones' assets, including his stake in InfoWars, to be liquidated. The families argue that Jones' 2.3 million follower accounts on social media X should be included to prevent him from using it for future business ventures. They linked the account to a customer list and other liquidation businesses. A Houston judge is expected to move Jones's case to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, ensuring the families can continue to collect on his assets and income until his debt is paid. Jones has less than $12 million in assets, meaning he will likely carry significant debt, legal debt, for the rest of his life. Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I don't understand, and this is the Hill, I don't understand what the families are looking for. We want the 2.3 million names that are on his follower account. Well, that's not what you get. It's not an email. And we want the social media things. Okay, so you can take these social media handles, and maybe those are declared assets, and so now they own them. He comes out tomorrow with whatever else, and those 2.3 million people go follow that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to be gained there. I mean, I've literally played this out, whether you like Alex Jones and feel like he's being persecuted beyond the court case that did result in the $1.5 billion in damages, or you don't like him and you just want to see him, hurt, injured, impaled in so many ways. It doesn't matter. Okay, here's my current social media accounts. Now what? He opens up others, and now he goes forward. And, he's got $12 million in assets, and he'll have legal debts. That's true. If he has a windfall, if he wins the lottery, if things like that happen, guess what? That money will go to pay things off. But if he goes and he's making $200-300 a year being Alex Jones, they don't get that. He's going to be able to go off and make a living. And any windfalls that are significant, he's going to owe those to the bankruptcy court. So I don't know. If I was the Sandy Hook parents, I know the desire to push back and feel like there's closure, but you don't get closure here. This is not.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the claims he made, right? What happened? I think even the other day they did something to the property. On what happened, whether they're bringing the building down or at
bankruptcy
Parkland.
situation.
No,
the school.
The school, yeah. And they were interviewing the mother who lost her a daughter, one of the 16 or 17 who lost. I mean, that's just a horrific story of what happened. Devastating on all levels. Period. So let's set that part aside. He says what he says. And, he goes, too far and boom, they're coming after him to get what he does. Okay, you take his assets, you take his money. Then the question that I think about is the following. Let's say you hate Adam. Okay?
Never.
And
more than I do now?
No,
I'm joking,
but
Adam.
let me say it in a different way. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say I am the lawyer of your ex-wife.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like you.
And you guys are going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Okay.
Let me make it easier for you. Adam's the lawyer of your ex-wife. Okay.
Adam's the lawyer of my ex-wife.
Of your ex-wife.
Okay. Yeah.
And your
I'm dating.
ex-wife, all she wants from you after the divorce, because something happened. You met another girl. Okay. And she's pissed. She wants to take you for everything you have, money-wise. Okay. Great. And she wants custody. Great. However, Adam used to play for the opposing high school team when you guys played football, and you had 3 touchdowns in a championship game, and you became state champions, and he lost you, humiliated him in that game. And he's been hanging on to it since he was 18 years old. He's now 44, so that's what? Say whatever, 26 years, okay? Right. Your ex just wants what?
The custody.
The money.
Yeah, sure.
And
money.
to embarrass you.
Yeah.
But Adam sits there and says, no, I think you should take his favorite Babe Ruth card as well, because your father gave it to you. and I think you should also take the championship trophy that they got from the high school. She doesn't give a shit about the championship trophy. He wants to take it from you because he wants to hurt you and destroy you. And I want you to take the jersey as well because you that's yours as well. You were the cheerleader. And I would take this. None of these thoughts are thoughts that your ex had. Adam has other ulterior motives to try to destroy you because he hasn't forgotten what you did to him 26 years ago on that football field when he won state championship. The Sandy Hook families want the damages to be paid. But the Sandy Hook families, if they're protected, and the people on the left here are saying, oh, you should also take the Twitter account. So who are these guys? Is this the Fed? Is this the FBI? Is this the people that are sick and tired? Is this the establishment that's sick and tired of Alex even having
the platform and the voice?
A platform to speak, especially on X, and the only one that's risking doing this is a guy named Elon Musk? These guys, I believe, I may be wrong, these guys have put it in the ears, told these guys, the families, to say you should also take the Twitter account. The parents don't care about the Twitter accounts, I don't think, but these guys do. Because the things he's going to be talking about, like when is the next time those parents are going to hear him say some of the things about Sandy Hook to constantly rehash it? He's moved up, but when is the next time Alex is going to call out the establishment for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years? So who does he piss off more, the parents or these guys? So to me, I think this is a bigger play. I think this is a bigger play because he has a big mouth and he goes after people of power and he doesn't stop. And that irritates those other people to say, you ought to also go and take that away from him. Rob, what is this clip you have here with Tucker and Alex?
Yes, this is Tucker just kind of explaining why he's supporting Alex Jones, that Alex Jones is being persecuted because he goes up against the ruling class.
Go for it. Play the clip.
I'm honored to be here. I'm here obviously because we're friends, but I'm really here on principle because there's nothing you've ever said in your entire life or done in your entire life that's scarier or more threatening to our country than what they're doing to you right now. So the government taking a broadcaster off the air who's committed no crime because he dares to criticize them is the scariest possible thing, and it's the clearest possible sign of tyranny. And I am heartbroken that this isn't getting more attention. I think it's a pivot point in our country, and if they can do this to you, they will do it to the rest of us. And what's so striking, though, is that if you had spent the last 20 years attacking, I don't know, the white working class, right, or the country, America, its founding documents, Thomas Jefferson, you'd be lauded. But you did the one thing you're not allowed to do, which is you attack the people in charge. And that's why they're trying to take you off the air. And I think we should be really clear about that. You've never done anything but attack the people in charge. That's your crime. By the way, if you had started a war that killed 1 million people or tanked the U.S. economy or, sort of looted every American's bank account through the Federal Reserve, you would be getting a Presidential Medal of Freedom. But you criticized the ruling oligarchy and they're trying to crush you. So I hope every person of principle, every decent person in this country, whether they agree with what you say or not, whether they like you personally or not, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's pretty clear. These people, whoever you want to put in the category of that, have a personal vendetta against him for right or for wrong, and they're trying to ruin his life. They're trying to ruin his life financially. They're trying to ruin his life emotionally. They're trying to ruin his life socially with his Twitter followers, and they're trying to ruin his life longevity speaking. Like, they would love to see him go away. And I'm not talking about being silenced or being canceled or being blackballed. There's a deep affinity for having Alex Jones Epstein himself. We've seen the videos where he looks stressed out. He looks not healthy. He's filing for bankruptcy potentially. It's not a good look for this guy. There's a vendetta against him. They're trying to ruin his life. Here's the thing that I will say. Was he wrong about the lies? Was he wrong about the misinformation? Was he wrong about the disinformation? Yes. But he wasn't the shooter. He didn't actually kill the kids.
Yeah, geez.
Thank God.
Point.
Like, what happened to that kid's family? What happened to the Sandy Hook shooter's family? Because, I said years ago, like, a school shooter's family should actually be held accountable. Plus, you can't hold the family accountable. And then they actually came out with a law in Michigan saying, yeah, it turns out you can hold the family accountable if your psychopath kid actually kills a bunch of people.
But that's the only time so far.
Exactly.
Great point.
So I'd like to know what happened to that family right there.
Well, he killed his mother.
They what?
He killed his mother.
Oh, he
Adam
shot
Lanza.
her.
Yeah, he killed
Did
his
he?
mother. Yes, he did.
All right, well,
I don't know what happened to the father. I'm looking now, but he killed the mother before he went to the school.
Horrible. But
great point, Adam.
But
great point.
Listen, how did this kid get access to a gun? But the point is this. Alex Jones didn't kill anybody. He lied. He told wrong stories.
He's
wrong.
paying the price.
He was wrong. He was wrong, and he's being vilified for that. And a lot of times, rightfully so, he's paying the price. But, he owes billion, and they're coming after millions. And they're going to take whatever they can get. They're going to try to ruin him. And they're going to take whatever they can get until there is no more Alex Jones.
Did you see PBD, Shane Gillis was with Joe Rogan? Rob, if you can fast forward to like 19 seconds, they're talking about the Iraq war and the accountability. Do you mind, PBD?
Yeah, go
ahead, Robbie.
They never showed the evidence of weapons of mass destruction that they should have. They should have had something that would let them go to war, but they never had any real evidence.
Hey, remember when Alex Jones got sued for $1 billion?
More.
And then
I think it's more than
the
$1 billion.
people that killed 1 million people in Iraq didn't face any repercussions.
1 million people.
What a time.
What a time.
Huh?
Isn't that nuts?
sounds like genocide.
Adam, that goes great to your.
I said, what the heck?
That gets great to your point. Alex Jones, yes, he was wrong. Conspiracy, that one he got wrong. A lot of them he gets right. But if you want to talk about, and you nailed it, he just said something wrong. Yeah, he hurt the people and he should pay. But what about the Bush Juniors and the Rumsfeld, who's dead, and who was the vice president?
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney. Zero accountability for going, hey, war. Whoops, there's no terrorists over there. So it's like, what are we really talking about?
Let's go to the next story.
Let's do it.
Let's go next story. So there's an exchange going on between Bill Ackman and Mark Cuban. Okay.
Cool.
Rob, if you can go to the Bill Ackman one, I'll read that. And then, no, go back, Rob. Go to the bottom where it's Bill. There you go. Okay. So, Bill Ackman is saying things about the president. I've been criticized by some for sharing these President of the United States Biden videos, which appear almost every day. I read numerous articles which somehow suggest that the camera angle, the duration of the clip, right-wing manipulation. Some people are old at 81. Others are sharp, vigorous, and impressive, comparing Warren Buffett at 93 and Biden at 81. Biden is an old 81 who can't find his way off stage or stay present or focused at G7 conferences. That who should be the leader of the free world for the next 5 years. A president should not have to be let off stage by hand or with an arm wrapped around him. That is not the image of strength and leadership we need as a country. Look at what is going on in the world. The perception of weak leadership in the United States has led to global chaos. The reality of weak leadership is a long-term, serious, continuous threat to our society. The Democratic Party is destroying itself by advancing Biden for a second term. This is the emperor's new clothes in real life, but it is not a children's book or a joke. The world is at great risk, and a Biden second term is a grave threat to global security and prosperity. Okay, so now he's retweeting a Piers Morgan clip of the event, and Piers Morgan said, so embarrassing, the Democrats can't let this go on, surely. So then go back, Rob, one clip to see how Mark Cuban responds to Bill Ackman. Now, keep in mind, Bill Ackman is worth $10 billion, okay? So he's just as successful as Cuban is. Cuban is obviously more famous. So let's go through it. Mark Cuban. You guys, Rob, can you move that, please? You guys both, Piers Morgan and Bill Ackman, are so consumed with pandering to your Twitter followers, you have lost all credibility.
Objectivity.
Objectivity. I'll let you both in on a secret. Both candidates are old, very old. They are both going to have senior moments, misremember, forget things, and have physical frailties. Go a little lower, Rob, if you could. I'll tell you a not-so-secret. One is great at sound bites, but also thinks in sound bites. The other is awful at sound bites, but thinks in complete sentences, meaning that's Biden.
Yeah.
Voters will decide which we prefer. You're right. They will. Here's my response, if you can go back one. I said, Mark, it's quite simple. Your candidate sucks and is not marketable. You have two problems. Why is the new Mavs owner, Miriam Adelson, being targeted by the NBA for reportedly giving $100 million to Trump since conviction? Okay. Two, how will you use your influence to replace Biden before DNC? Now, Can you type in Miriam Adelson, Dallas Mavs, and put Trump? Miriam Adelson is a very, very wealthy woman who is respected tremendously. Zoom in a little bit. She is noted a Republican donor who in 2020 gave $172 million to GOP initiatives, according to Torres podcast, has given $100 million to Trump's campaign since conviction. This reportedly caused NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to place restrictions on her ownership of the team.
Oh, weird.
What? Can you go to the article, please?
And her husband was the late Sheldon Adelson, the casino magnate out there, and that's how she has all this money.
Yes. Can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah, zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you could. Close that. There you go. Go on a little lower, Rob. Okay. So, Adelson, no, the Republican, okay, go a little lower, go a little lower, go a little lower. There we go, Republican commission. Okay. Her political reputation was apparently so radioactive that the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will not allow her to be the governor of the team. So Miriam's son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, an executive at her casino company, was appointed governor of the Mavericks instead. And the reason why the ostensibly left-leaning NBA insisted on this is obvious once you step just a foot outside of sports, because nobody donated more to Trump in 2020 than Miriam Adelson. So it's interesting that the new Mavs owner is her supporting Trump, NBA not happy. Could this be, what are the likelihood that Adam Silver called Cuban? I don't know. What is the likelihood of Adam Silver saying, hey, this is going on? I don't know. What is the likelihood that Cuban called Adam Silver? I don't know. I actually don't think Cuban called Adam Silver because Cuban's doing some real estate business with them, is what they're doing. But who do you think Adam Silver prefers as an owner? You think Mark Cuban or Adelson? Which do you think?
Cuban.
Of course it's Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban is on the same page politically as, he is.
The NBA.
Silver.
Very similar. And in the NBA, if you are a conservative Republican team owner, you better keep it to yourself and not anybody else. You cannot do that in the NBA. Maybe you can get away with it a little bit in the NFL. You can get away with it a little bit more in the MLB. You can get away with it maybe in a couple other sports. UFC, he does not give a shit. Dana White could give a shit on how different he is as a commissioner than Adam Silver. Adam Silver is worried because she's giving money to Trump. So what's the point here? Tom, you see a story like this with Ackman and Cuban going back and forth with Mark Cuban's arguments being made about where they're at, and you see what the new ownership is. How does he manage a relationship like that where the new owners are so right? He knew that before he sold the company to them. It's not like he didn't know about that. How do you think this relationship moves forward with the two of them?
How does Mark manage it or Adam manage it?
All three. Put Mark, Adam, and Miriam.
Okay. For Miriam, there's nothing to manage. She is who she is, and she's very clear about it. And her somewhat less volatile son-in-law has been the ceremonial governor of the team, which is like chairman of the board, right? You have some power, but you can't just sweeping things. How does Mark manage it? Mark wanted to sell part of the team and make some bank to go do some of the other things. And there were very few people out there that had enough coin to do it. But remember this. The NBA approved the deal. The NBA knew
who she was.
Her father, her husband was Sheldon, knew what was going on. And I believe there's a lot of truth behind that the NBA was moving gambling forward, because remember, all the leagues hated gambling until they can make big money on it. Now it's okay. And now we can put DraftKings on the scoreboards and on all the media posters around the stadium. So Mark knew who she was and wanted to get money. The NBA knew who she was, and they approved her as a purchaser. So Adam and Mark have got no room to say, oh my gosh, look at this. No. You knew it. The kind of scrutiny they go through to do it. So how does Mark Cuban manage it? The way he is. He comes out with a mamby-pamby text response to Bill Ackman and comes out with that like that, shows some support for Biden like that, and then goes on. But this is really disingenuous story, because the amount of scrutiny that goes on in sports ownership, something you know something about, Pat, is pretty freaking significant. They knew exactly who she was.
And how long ago was this, Pat? When did the
Less than a year, right?
Oh yeah, less than a year.
Oh, so
because he bragged that he paid income taxes in April, a big giant check.
Happened this year, 2024.
This year, got you. So do you think Adam Silver, who's Jewish, you think his attitude on presidency has changed since that year because of all the anti-Semitic left pushing garbage, college campuses and everything that's happening right now, Adam? Do you think it would change? Because Adam Silver is Jewish. I mean, I would think, why would you support an administration that is pro Hamas, pro, squad, pro all this? I mean, I would think that guy would change his attitude. Don't you think? Like, why would you be going pro Biden?
Adam Silver is pro.
Adam Silver. No, I'm saying
Adam Silver is pro NBA.
Yeah, no, I feel you, but I mean,
he's focused on the NBA. That's what his.
But you don't understand what I'm saying, though, right? Why are you supporting an administration that gives two shits about you, your people, your what? Is it just a woke DEI agenda with the NBA? I'm thinking he would change his.
Well, if you want to label the NBA anything, I would say that they're social justice warriors.
Big time.
We saw what happened in the bubble, but just to kind of hone in on this, I think Bill Ackman. Whether it's Jamie Dimon, whether it's Bill Ackman, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's even Joe Rogan, there's a lot of people that have changed their tune on who they're willing to vote for these days. None of these guys considered Trump in 2016 or even 2020. A lot of them are like, yeah, I don't, this Biden situation, yeah, I don't, all right, Trump. But, again, back to the point that this is the dreaded double haters election. Both candidates have historically high unfavorability ratings. And Bill Ackman's absolutely right about Joe Biden is the emperor that has no clothes on. Both candidates are deeply flawed. Forget about my opinion. Just look at the numbers. I mean, Trump's the only candidate in American history that never had a 50% approval rating. Never. Joe Biden started at like 60 and it plummeted within the first 6 months. So this guy just completely fell apart, literally and figuratively. But in this election, we have the lesser of two evils. And, age is a problem for Biden, not so much for Trump, despite, some things he says. It's nobody's worried about his age. People are worried about Trump's character and they're worried about Biden's competence. So we're going to see what happens here. Speaking of the character, how many people in Biden's administration the first time and Trump's administration the first time are endorsing him this time? Not many. That's a problem. How many people in the Republican Party, what they say behind closed doors versus what they say in front of the cameras, singing a different tune. Behind closed doors, you hear all the stories. Oh my God, I can't believe this. In front of the camera, they're never going to go against MAGA. By the way, Biden, behind closed doors, they're all saying, dude, this guy's freaking falling apart.
Of course.
And then they're lying on camera being like, he's the strongest, most fervent president I've ever seen. It's like nobody's believing this right now. So unfortunately, we're at a time of our country where the fear of the other guy outweighs the fear of your own candidate. So we're going to have a close election, and these conversations are going to continue.
And what was it called on the double? What did you call it? The
double hater.
But the double hater. But the only difference is one of them is actual, like Biden. People just hate him because they see what he's doing. The other one was manufactured and fabricated. People were taught and trained to hate Trump. Period. From the beginning. Racist, Hitler, all that bullshit. Now the truth is coming to the light. So one was propped up and one we're actually seeing what Joe Biden does.
I don't disagree with you.
Let me wrap this up. We got 2 minutes before we wrap up. I'll finish up with his second tweet here, Mark Cuban. Rob, can you pull up Piers Morgan's reaction? He's reacting to Piers Morgan. I think Bill and I are more consumed with reality than you seem to be, Mr. Cuban, right? And then go all the way up. LOL, you are 59, I'm 65. Guess what? Both of our hearing is going to decline. There are going to be things we don't hear well, don't see well, words that don't come as easily, things that hurt when we move and slow us down, things we forgot and have to make a note of. Now imagine being 78 and 81, but as being stated by many, physical and sensory limitations don't reflect intellectual capacity. He's still going for it, doubling down. What matters to me is the ability to understand and deal with concepts and strategy and bring together leaders globally. By the way, this is not a good look for him. To make this argument that Biden's doing this. You think, Mark, sincerely, you're a smart guy. You think he's bringing leaders together? Did he bring Putin and Zelensky together? Did he do anything to bring Israel and maybe the leaders of power? Did he do any? What is he? Who was he brought together? I'm actually really curious.
He was just at the G7.
What has he unified to have leadership skills, even if you do them while in a rocking chair? What are your thoughts on the many people who have worked in the former administration close to the president, who have spoken publicly on the record about his intellectual, ethical, and leadership challenges versus the fact that no one has done so with the current president? Adam,
I just want to ask you a question because you're the only one here who's actually spent time with Cuban, and you've interviewed him, what, once, twice?
One time.
Okay. Yeah. It's clear. I mean, he is on the Biden train. He's riding with Biden, and he's anti-Trump. Why? Why take this stance? You're an NBA owner. Not many NBA owners are going out there being public. I mean, you're in Texas. Texas ain't exactly a woke
Go back
area.
To Twitter, well, you have to see this, what he says. A guy says something to him. Go to his account, Rob, if you can. You were just on him right now.
Maybe he's angry about losing the finals.
So if you go to...
This is days ago.
No, this is days ago. If you go to his account, right there. So go down a little bit. You just had it, but it's fine. The guy asked him a question. Mark Cuban, a billionaire Republican, lays out the facts to whether the choice in November is Biden or Trump. He's voting Biden, and he hasn't even considered many. First of all, he's not a Republican.
Yeah.
At least his actions don't say so. The many compassionate social issues I don't care about, including protecting our Mother Earth. Look at the facts. I won't vote for anyone that doesn't believe climate change is real.
Number one.
By the way, click on the tweet from him and go to the bottom of the comment section. Go a little lower, 8.6 million views. You have a $19 million oceanfront home in California in Laguna Beach. What's the okay? And it's not oceanfront, but it's a great ocean view. Now tell me about the property insurance along coastlines. How is the insurance in Florida? How happy are homeowners about their insurance property? Why do you think it's gotten so expensive? Show more a little bit. Why do you think it's gotten so more? And then he puts the Reuters article. Yeah, that is accurate. Go lower. Don't change the subject. Ocean view is close to the ocean. And if sea levels were rising, you wouldn't live there like Obama's and Pelosi's and the rest of your gaslighting idiots. You own 2 private jets, plenty of fuel-sucking cars. I doubt you're vegan, so keep your...
I love her.
So you see how this is kind of like Sarah Rose. I don't know who she is, but good argument that you're making. But the point is, he's telling you where he's at position-wise. He is very good at, massaging it. The one thing I like when he's given his arguments, and many times he'll put it together with, I've read this, I've read that, and you wouldn't become a billionaire if you're not somebody that, thinks
not
sharp.
an idiot.
No, there's no way. There's no way he is.
Politically, yes.
Matter of fact, I would even say he may be campaigning. Okay? I would even say he may be campaigning.
2028?
Why did you just sell all your team? Why did you just sell that?
Point.
Well, because he's going to have to overcome one of the objections that he has to kind of get away from to prepare himself for 2028. Because for nearly 21 years, according to The Guardian, he built the whitest team in the NBA, 75%. He ran the whitest team in the NBA. So maybe it's kind of like a couple other changes before 2027, 2028, because I'm telling you, 2028, if you think 2024 is exciting, wait till you see who's running in 2028. Do not be surprised if you see him, if you see Jamie. I'm about to step down. Why for? Chase.
Jamie Dimon.
Okay. Yeah. If you see The Rock, if you see the 2028 field could be so star-studded. All of these people that want to put that last check mark on their resume. He's not a trifecta yet like Trump. Mark Cuban's not. Cuban is a trifecta. Trump is a trifecta. He won on TV, he won on business, and he won in politics. Cuban won on TV, Shark Tank, got to give it to him, great show.
Media.
He's won in media, right? He's won in business. Billionaire. He's got one last thing left. He'll never be a trifecta if he doesn't get the last one. So
prediction right
now,
there.
We'll see. All I'm saying is 2028, 2027 will be a true NBA draft, except it's going to be a what? Presidential draft.
Can't wait.
Gang, have a great one. We will see, by the way, we will see, Rob, are we doing something? Oh, tomorrow, let me tell you guys who I spoke to yesterday for 2 hours. Billy Carson. I don't know if you know who Billy Carson is.
How was it?
It was... Rob, what would you say? It was
wild.
It was wild. So apparently Jesus is an alien. Okay?
What?
According to him, yeah, Jesus is an alien,
Illegal alien. He
and
came through
we talked
from
about
Nazareth to Gaza.
we talked
It's not
about
good.
Trump's father's brother, John, who the FBI approach to look at Nikola Tesla's papers to see if there was any information that if it would have leaked to the population. Anyways, you're going to enjoy watching this tomorrow. And then we're doing a podcast again when, Rob? Thursday?
Thursday morning.
All right. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So you like